Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Tell you what, 7-0 has a pretty good ring to it. 7-0 has
Hey, that's the first two numbers of my Social Security. How did you know that?
Well, that's where some of that
What's
money
the
of yours
rest?
is going.
Huh?
What's the rest?
Yeah,
1-800
Go ahead.
1-800-000.
1-800-D-GUN. Yes, 7-0 was the score of the Phillies game last night. It's also the Eagles' record as we head into the game tomorrow night. Welcome in, everybody. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He's Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. Yes, another amazing night at the bank. Bedlam at the bank, as Scott Fransky would say again last night, as the Phillies take care of business. So we're going to look back at that game. We have Mike Sealski's going to join us. Ricky Vitalico is going to join us. We will also get you set for the Eagles and the Houston Texans, which game is tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, as the Eagles look to just up the ante here and go to 8-0 on the season. Who would have thunk? Unbelievable, man. What a time. What a time. What's up, everybody in the chat section? Everybody streaming, everybody listening. I see you, Mr. Taz, Adam, Fitness Rebel, Timoleon, M News, Jeremy, Chris, of course. I see all you guys. Everybody in the chat section. Always great. Always fun hanging out with you. If I missed anybody, my apologies, but you guys are the absolute best. There's no question about that. So was everybody streaming, everybody listening. All right. So a couple odds and ends, guys. And there's varying reports on this one. Some say it's BS. Some say it's not. In my head, it's real. They said last night that the seismograph at the Penn State Brandywine campus registered noise levels that were an earthquake at the game last night. Now, how true is that? I don't know. I'm going to go with it.
I believe in it. I believe it.
I believe it. If you believe it, it's real, as Costanza would say back in the day. Hi, Mama Brooks. Checking in.
Good morning, Mom. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Well, she's central.
Still morning
right?
in the Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, so much to get to, guys. So much to get to last night. Absolutely incredible. And the Phillies win 7-0. They're now up 2-1. So many singular moments. I will tell you this: Castellanos' catch. If he doesn't make that catch, I'm telling you, man,
that's unbelievable.
And it gets past him, it's a double or triple, and that whole inning and game may change. He makes that catch. The place was already just insanity. He makes the catch, it just explodes. And that shot that Harper hit, oh my God. I mean, what a zone this guy is in right now. I've never seen anything like it in the post. It's comparable to Nick Foles' run in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. What he's doing right now.
You know, funny. Houston came out attacking the plate the same way they did the previous game, going to pitches early. Mm-hmm. The only difference was they didn't fall in. Pop up, the catch by Castellanos, Rob's guy, Castellanos,
Mr. Defense,
Mr. October, October. It was simply glovely, And basically Houston helped Suarez out early in the game.
Yeah.
He didn't have to use many pitches.
Yeah. Yep. And the
once
Phillies
Suarez settled
defense,
in,
yeah, you're right. As you mentioned, delivered. And then that just set the tone. And then the bats just go bananas. And Harper, oh my God, man. Schwarber draws the walk. You get 2 outs. You think, all right, Houston's going to wiggle out of this thing. And man, did he crush that thing? Did he ever crush that thing?
I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think I'm directly responsible for the Phillies hitting 5 home runs.
You are.
Yes, because every time I stepped away from the TV is when he hit another home run. I kid you not. All 5 home runs, I would step away and go to the kitchen. All of a sudden I hear, I'm like, what? And run back to the TV. 5 times that happened.
You can't watch.
I like to think. I like to think I'm directly responsible for their plate prowess last night.
And there was so many different ways. Like Harper's was obviously, just smoked. And the one that Schwarber hit was majestic into the shrubbery in center field. Bohm's was just a low missile that just gets over the wall. And then Marsh's, you weren't quite sure, It was just so many different ways that they did it. And I'll tell you what, Ranger Suarez is the Iceman. He is just woo. Nothing's phasing that cat.
No.
Doesn't matter what's going on around him.
How many times did Rob Ellis jump up out of his chair last night?
A lot.
Did you?
Lot. Yeah, I almost did a David Robertson. I almost pulled a calf the one time jumping off the couch.
So you're not one of these guys that can just sit and watch a game, no matter how the magnitude. See, I'm the kind of guy. No. I don't care the magnitude of the game. I can sit there and like, yeah, but I don't get up. I don't jump around. I don't do any of that stuff. You actually get up and physically gyrate and all that stuff.
You know what? I don't gyrate. I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that.
He's gritty.
The poor dog would just, pass out if I started gyrating. No,
you gritty. That's what you do. You gritty.
I do a little gritty. I get a little bit of that, but no, what I do is I'll, for some reason, I feel the need to get closer to the TV. Like I'll get up from the couch and walk up to the TV and start yelling if something happens. I don't know why I do that.
You still do that to this day?
Yeah, I still do that. Yeah.
Aren't you a little too mature for that, Rob?
Obviously, you guys don't. You haven't figured that out by now. The answer,
Rob.
No. Yeah, no. Never mentioned the same sentence. But it was everything we'd hoped a game 3 would be. They bounced back after a loss, and Mother Nature helped, I think, in a big way with Suarez being able to pitch. But the bats just they're a different hitting team at home, man. They are just a different hitting team at home, and the crowd gets behind them. And then it just becomes a party. Yeah. And the big question is, was McCullers tipping off his pitches? Could he have been? Yeah. I mean, he absolutely could have been. You still got to hit it. Yeah. You still got to hit it.
All this money. They get paid all this money to find little things, same thing with, when you're scouting, team, you find the littlest thing. Right. Can you imagine all the hours and hours of film that they did to try to get a bead on stuff like that? I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, but here's another like that also. Here's another reason why you put Bryce Harper in the category of professional hitter, because he calls Bohm back from the batter's box and tells him something, and all of a sudden, boom. Mm-hmm. Now, we may never know exactly what that conversation is until all of these guys are retired, long gone and retired. But Pedro Martinez said on the MLB network, he said he was definitely tipping his pitches. Mm-hmm. What Pedro picked up was when his glove was high, it was off speed. His glove was lower. It was fastballs. Now, for Harper to be able to pick that up in his first at bat, if that was the case, and hopefully I'll get to ask Ricky Bo that when he comes on. I want to know if Ricky picked up on that also, because you're right. Hitting coaches pick up on tendencies, whether they're looking at them on film or whether they notice something live in the game. But for Harper to pick that up in his first at bat and to spread that throughout the dugout. And if that was a direct correlation of why they hit 5 home runs in 5 innings, kudos to him and the organization, because now you've got a guy who was virtually – McCullers' balls don't leave the park like that on a normal basis.
No, 651 pitches, and he hadn't allowed a home run.
Thank you. So, obviously, the Phillies picked up on something which is incredible that they did. So if that's the case, if McCullers gets back on the mound again, now that thought process is going through his head. He's got to alter his pitching motions, which could bode well for the Phillies once again if he has to alter his motions.
Bro, it's amazing on how I'm just looking back and watching pictures, bro, and I was watching him, and I thought I was seeing something. I wasn't seeing anything, but I like to think I did. But just the fact that you know, they were able to pick that up and over the motion of him doing stuff. That's amazing, man. That's amazing that Harper can pick that up, you know, just on you know, that split second where that glove, where it is and how far as, you know, knee went in the air and all that type of stuff. That's amazing to be able to do stuff like that. And I mean, we're talking about an instant reaction. Yeah. That is unbelievable that they can pick up on stuff like that.
Yeah, and it also tells you what kind of team guy he is. I mean, you know, so that goes down, and then he, you know, he immediately, instead of just continuing to celebrate in the dugout, he's like, you could see him say, Bomer, Bomer. And it was so loud, Bohm couldn't even hear him on the on-deck circle. And then everybody starts kind of, okay, the inning ends, but as soon as the next inning comes, man, boom, and it's gone. I mean, it was yeah, right. It was just such a cool display. They have 17 home runs in the postseason. That's the third most.
Isn't that something?
In the history of Major League Baseball. I know they play more postseason games now, but still, that's awesome.
Do you know the numbers for number 2 and number 1, what the numbers are?
No, but I'll check it. I can check that.
Hey, Barry, in a lot of ways, you shouldn't be surprised because it's commonplace in football. You picking up on tendencies. If you're an offensive lineman, picking up on tendencies of D rushers, you know, the hands, they put the hands a certain way when they're going to rush, or put the, you know, the hands a different way if they're going to drop back in the pass coverage. If a linebacker leans a certain way, he's coming this way in the A gap or the B gap. If he does this, you know, he's going to drop back, or he's going to, you know, you guys, NFL players pick up on that stuff.
I don't know. I'm saying I can pick up on that, but that's a lot different from the actions of a pitcher.
Sure.
In motion, being able to pick out a pitch that's going, you know, 98 miles an hour. You know, to me, that's
oh yeah,
that's crazy that you could pick up on little idiosyncrasies like that. Like I can remember watching things all the time where if a guy if he's backed up, he's off the line of scrimmage as a defensive lineman, I know that he's either going to loop around.
Sure, absolutely.
He's not penetrating. When he gets too tight, he's penetrating. You look at his knuckles and see if he's got more weight forward. That means he's pass rushing up the field. I mean, there's little things. If a linebacker starts sneaking over a little bit, I know it's going to be MEV. I can pick up on all that stuff. I watch the safety. If I see that safety just trying to lean over just a little too much, I know they're coming from a blitz, you know, because he's got to go fill in for the blitz that's coming from that side. Those are things that I can do. But that's not the split second it takes. Pitch.
No.
You know what I'm saying? A pitch.
No, and not only that, if you do pick up on stuff like that, no two breaking pitches are going to end in the exact same destination every time. The hand-eye coordination for baseball, for batters and hitters in general, is unbelievable. I mean, I play baseball and I know what that takes. It's incredible. And you're right. The decision-making process is a fraction of a second. At least in football, you have a cadence count to identify what they're going to do. You know, whether it's on 2, on 3, on 1, even if it's on first sound. You know, once you see, you got to get set. It takes a second to get set, so you don't get called for illegal motion. So you at least have 1 second to make that determination. Not in baseball. You don't get a full second for that.
It's amazing. It really is. I mean, so mention the 17 home runs, third most. They you look at the home runs at home too. They've out-homered their opponents 17-6 at in the postseason. Generally, they've outscored opponents 42-15 at home in the postseason. So they are just bludgeoning their opponents at home. You know, we got to start giving some love to this bullpen too. You know, and Suarez was awesome, but those guys picked up the pace again last night. They haven't given up a run yet. The bullpen is dealing. They've been awesome. They've been awesome, man.
And what an additional luxury that you did not have to go to Alvarado, Sir Anthony, Eflin.
Exactly.
All these guys last night to give them an additional day of rest compared to Houston unexpectedly having to go to some of their key pitchers in their bullpen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how big is that? Because today is going to be by committee.
No, today's Nola. Tomorrow's the committee game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nola's up already?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were able to do it because of the rain delay. He's still on his regular rest. So Nola,
right.
We're going to get into Nola in a little bit because there's, you know, he hasn't pitched well the last 2 outings.
The big key is you're pushing Wheeler back 3 days.
Yeah.
That's one. Hopefully he doesn't get to that point, but that's one you got to closely watch if they go back to Houston.
Yeah, he would be game 6. Here's the great thing too with this. Suarez only had to throw 76 pitches. He's your game 7 guy. If you need a game 7, hopefully none of this gets to this, but if you need him in game 7, he'll be fine. Like, he's going to be good to go. That would be on Sunday with the way this plays out. And he'd be very well rested.
And as I sit here, I don't understand why Dusty Baker allowed McCullers to go a full 5. After he had given up 2 home runs, go to the pen. Get somebody up in the pen right now. You let him go a full 5 and gave up all 5 home runs. Now, if the opposition is picking up on something, how does your own pitching coach not pick up on this stuff?
That's a great question.
How do your own hitters, who are professional hitters, and you've got some big boppers in you, how are they not noticing this stuff as well?
Yeah, how is Altuve or whoever, fill in the blank, saying, "Hey, come here, man. Listen, you're obviously picking up on this. You got to watch
pitcher, a pitching coach, your hitters, your manager. Dusty Baker's been around the game 100 years. You don't think he's had the opportunity to pick up stuff? How does somebody in your bullpen and your dugout not relay that message to McCullers?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is nothing new. If you go back to when the Giants had a big lead on the Angels, I think it was 0-2, whatever year it was. Dusty did not handle things well. Rob Thompson thus far has outmanaged him. That's for sure. And look, there was a lot of series to be played here, right? There is no question about that. But Harper, 382, 6 home runs, 13 RBIs, 21 hits, 12 runs, 12 extra base hits, 414 on base, 818 slugging percentage, and a 1.232 OPS. You can't do it at a higher level than he's doing it right now. Exactly. And setting tones with that home run.
Exactly. No question about it. Wow.
Incredible.
I'm telling you, Rob, you're not going to be able to get down to either game?
Certainly not. My only shot would have been tonight. No prayer tomorrow with other duties. So
hey, we're not hanging out with the right people, because our guy Xander is going to the game tonight.
I know.
So Xander, he tells us he loves us and loves what did he try to get either one of you a ticket? To me? Anybody? I mean, tickets are hard to come by, man. I would have donated my ticket to one of you guys, because I'm not going in the crowd.
Something tells me Barrett is going to figure out a way to get to the game tonight. I just have a feeling.
Did you not think that I wasn't?
Yes.
I will be there.
I buy it.
Oh, you can go in the company suite.
Yes.
He's got carte blanche.
I'm seriously. I'm walking up. I'm hoping that somebody recognizes me.
There you go.
Hey, B. Brooks would tell you I was the master of enjoying the company suite.
That's right.
Bruh.
That's right. My girl, Margie's Margie's
still there.
She's the hostess with the most.
In fact, I can see your son ending up there, bro.
Who?
Mine.
Oh, you're upset? Yeah. Well, for me, it would start with Janet Fern. I love her to death. I would go to Janet Fern.
Right.
And she would say, D-Gun, hold on, let me check on things. And then once you got there, Margie, who's been in the suite forever, she is the nicest, sweetest person you ever wanted to meet. This woman would see my kids maybe once a year for an event and would remember them by name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I can't remember people's names I worked with 20 years.
You don't remember our names.
Right.
We're going to wear name tags.
I have names.
Yeah,
I have names for you both. I can't say them on the show, but I have names.
I called him one time. He said, Bernard.
Benji, is that you?
Who are you? Oh my God. All right. So interestingly enough, and again, we're going to have Mike Sealski and then Ricky Batalico joining us as well. So we'll dip back into the Phillies and with them. But I just want to throw this out there when it comes to Nola tonight. So last 2 starts, if you remember, if we just work backwards here against the Astros, 4 1/3, 5 runs, 6 hits. Not great, obviously. Start before that, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs against the Padres. So he needs to step up. He was really good. He went on a run before that. The last time he pitched previously was against the Braves in the NLDS. He was great. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. But you got to get that Aaron Nola back, because that was the guy who pitched the last 2 games ain't going to cut it tonight.
No.
What is going on? I mean,
it happens with pitchers. It happens. It's like quarterbacks. You know what? You go on highs, you go on lows. Man, you hit. Man, I'm telling you, it just happens. Unfortunately, it's happening for him in the postseason. But then again, I've seen a lot of comments. Usually this has been his MO in September is when he starts to fall.
Yeah.
Now he picked it up in September. Now all of a sudden it's hitting him in October. And I wonder if he's starting to think that in the back of his mind, trying to be too fine with his pitches, with the end result being people are tattooing him. Or is it possible the opposition is picking up on something he's doing in terms of motions to the plate?
That's what I was saying earlier. I mean, what little things are our pitchers doing that, people are picking up on?
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah, for sure.
That happens, man. I mean, there's just little things that you can pick up on. I know from being in the league when I was playing, there were certain things you could see, certain things you saw. Just one step, you know what I'm saying? When it says a game of inches, it really is, because just one step or one little minute movement or something, or watching the guy's eyes, that's why a lot of running backs have visors on, so you can't see their eyes, because they give it away all the time. Running backs are the worst, because you could tell when the running back's about to run the ball, because they look like their body's tense and they're ready to get the ball. And when they're pass blocking, they're less enthused doing that. So they're kind of laissez-faire in how they sit in there in their demeanor. You got to coach that out of guys. You know what I'm saying? You really do. So I'm hoping that we get a better no, it's not. I'm hoping we're gonna get a better pitching outing out of nowhere.
Confidence, baby. You like it.
Let's go.
I love it. I love it. All right, so we'll get back to the Phillies in a little bit with both Mike and Ray. Mike wrote a really good piece on Kyle Schwarber, how he sets the tone for this team. It's not exactly conventional, but he sets the tone at the leadoff spot. So we'll talk to him about that coming up. And, of course, Ricky Vitalico does a great job on the post-game and pregame show for NBC Sports Philadelphia. So we'll talk to Ricky in a bit. I want to throw this at you guys before we get into a little bit of Eagles talk here. Daniel Snyder and his wife are in the process of at least exploring selling the team.
Good.
Right. Well, good. Here's the way I look at it, Derek. Good and bad. Good is the obvious. He's an absolute world-class creep on a million levels, right? Bad for the Eagles, because I want this dude to screw that team up forever.
Yes.
That's the only downside of this.
Yes.
No.
That's like what's going down in Dallas. We love the head coach. We don't want Sean there.
I like your way of thinking, but in terms of trying to once again change the integrity of the game, I want him out ASAP. If I'm a Washington fan, if I'm a Washington front office person, a coach, a player, a trainer, anybody associated with that team, I want him out as soon as possible. And hopefully, here's the thing. I think once he gets out, because there's been, initially there was talk that he was trying to build a new stadium in Virginia.
Right.
Now, there are people hemming and hawing saying, I'm not going to Virginia to watch this team play. I think if there's a changing of the guard, I think people will flood that area. Number one, for the new stadium. Number two, a new direction, just based on the fact that he's no longer associated with the team. Yeah.
No, I absolutely. I think that for the good of our fellow man and woman, it's certainly a good thing. Selfishly, from an Eagle standpoint, as long as Jerry and Daniel Snyder own those teams, they're going to screw them up. But I hear you. I hear you. I wonder, because he had been so steadfast and not, being willing to move. I don't know. Maybe the pressure just caved on him eventually, and he gave in, because I thought he would be the type that'd have to go out kicking and screaming.
He is. He's still going to go out. He's still going to go out kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's him making this decision. It's the NFL forcing his hand, making him.
It could be someone saying, "Hey, do yourself a favor, sell, or we're about to unleash a lot of stuff on you."
Right. You want to keep the integrity of your name, or just
if there is any at this point. But
right. You better let go.
If there is any truth to the fact that he has dirt on X amount of people, if I'm the league, I treat this with kid gloves. You know what, Daniel? I think you're making a wise move. I would pat him on the back and coddle him. You know what, Daniel? There's a lot of heat on you, and you're right. I think you should just graciously bow. You have your $48 million estate in Virginia. You have more money coming in. You're going to make a ton of money on this team if you sell it. You have other business ventures. You know what? You should focus on something else at this stage of your life.
He's not going to get less than like $6 billion for it, $5 billion.
Man, he probably get three and a half, four.
No, because look what the Broncos sold for. The Broncos sold for $5 billion.
And that's a major market.
Okay, so the Broncos sold for $5 billion.
Yes.
I
so
think
that means we're talking about $6 or $7 billion for that franchise.
I think there were people that would try to get him at a bargain basement price will he get to a point where he just wants to get out from under it? You know, no. I don't disagree with you, but I wonder if anybody would pay it just because it's him. It's him. They're going to try to stick it to him.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
He's not that type of dude that he cares about anything what anybody's saying. He wants to. First of all, he wants to keep the team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. He wants to keep the team. He's just getting pushed out. But I mean, he doesn't want to go anywhere.
Well, look at how quickly he's gone from supposedly through anonymous sources. He's adamant about keeping the team. Now, all of a sudden, a month later, they're exploring selling the team. Yeah, look how different it changed all of a sudden.
The pressure on him, man. The pressure.
You know what though? Here's Barrett. You know what? To be honest though, as an owner of that team, he could hide behind closed doors forever, and not have to be publicly subjected to anything. He could send his henchmen out, his GM, he can send his PR. All his people could be the minions running the organization. He doesn't have to.
Yeah, just go ahead and buy the team, bro.
Yeah, come on, Gunner.
Buy what?
Go ahead and buy the team.
Man, I can barely afford buying a helmet. You talking about buying a team?
Yeah, whatever, man.
You see what John Dickerson said? D. Gunn and Barrett are going to put their monies together to buy the commies.
Like it.
There's 10 franchises. If I had the money, I would jump on and buy in a minute. Washington is not number 35 on the list of number 32. Say that right now.
I hear you. All right, let's get a timeout. We'll come back. Mike Sealski is going to join us. We'll be joined also by Ricky Vitalico. We're going to dig into the Eagles a little later in the show. NFL MVP. Who is it so far in the league? We'll do a little AFC power rankings also, and a bunch of other odds and ends. Who won the trade deadline deals? All of that good stuff in store. You don't want to go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis with you on this Wednesday. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because you work hard, right? We all do. We want to be able to save and invest our money the right way so we're taken care of when it matters the most, right? And Jim is that person to do it for you. I've entrusted all my hard-earned money with him, whether it's my IRA, my 401k rollover, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could also email him at Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pondley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pondley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pondley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey, the largest workers' compensation law firm in Pennsylvania. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. Even better, Pondley Hockey doesn't charge a dime until you win. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says yes, you can. Jeff says yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say no, you can't, Jeff says yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Back up and running on this blessed time to be a Philadelphia sports fan, that's for sure. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett's working out the kinks in the shoulder. He's getting ready to go, man. You all right?
Bro, I need to get surgery on my shoulder, man. I'm about 2 years. They told me 2 years ago I needed to. I thought I could rehab back. So I left them alone. I'll lift on them hard for about 6 weeks. No, I lift them hard for 3 weeks and have to be off 6 weeks. Live hard 3 weeks, off 6 weeks. It's
not working. All those years of carrying D Gun has finally taken its toll, man.
What?
What? Did I say that out loud?
Really? All right. You know what? Sorry. You know what? After we get, let me just give you both warning.
There we go.
After we get rid of our guest, Sealski and Ricky Bo, it's open season. That's it.
Well, then I better go to Mike right away before I catch any shrapnel.
I'm telling you right now.
The one and only extraordinary columnist from the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike Sealski. And Mike, I love, by the way, great story today on Schwarber, but your tweet, your preview tweet of the story. Some people said the Phillies shouldn't have had Kyle Schwarber be their leadoff hitter all season. Some people are dumb. A column on their dumbness.
That's what it's about, Rob. And Barrett, just on the topic of your shoulder, let this be a lesson to you. Never work out. Ever.
Yes.
For any reason. Okay. That way you don't get injured and everything is cool.
My shoulders feel great. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah. Don't let him fool you, man. The only workout he's doing is lifting a White Castle burger doing that. That's his curls. That's his curls for the day.
Gunnar, I think open season has already begun. You don't have to wait for me and Ricky.
He didn't even wait for Mike to get off.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Mike. For the last 3 weeks, I've been preaching to these guys that D-Gun is in a happier place.
You have
they just pick. And I said, you know what? You can't get to me. Well, today, Rob set the tone. Barrett chimed in, and I said, you know what? It's time for D-Gun's Alter Eagle to come back.
I'm telling you.
So here's the thing, though, Gunnar. If you had spent the last 3 weeks talking to me about yourself in the third person, I'd be picking at you too. Just saying.
Yes, it's becoming more commonplace too, Mike. That's the scary thing. It's
Mike,
it's not occasionally.
I just try to be a nicer guy, and they won't let me, Mike.
Poor guy.
Just trying to keep you down, brother. I feel you. I feel you.
D-Gun's got to do what D-Gun's got to do. When your boss says that to you one day, you know it's gone. It's gone.
And now D-Gun is back.
All right, he's back.
Oh man.
So, Mike, I want to start with this before we get to your Schwarber piece, which was excellent. Look, you're an historian here. You know, you have perspective on what's gone down in this city. This run, let's start with how improbable it is, because about 15 different things had to break right, including changing the rules for the wild card, DH, being universal, all that. But just the atmosphere during this run, because you've been there covering a lot of these games, where does it rank in terms of the craziness?
Rob, I'm telling you, I was there throughout 2008. I was there throughout 2009. That ballpark is louder now than it was then. I really believe that. Last night was nuts. And what's cool about it, if you're a Phillies fan, I have to imagine, is that there are all these moments, usually brought on by Bryce Harper, where you kind of say to yourself, man, what if he hit a home run here? That'd be kind of cool. And then he hits a home run there. It happened in Game 5 against the Padres. I was sitting next to my colleague, David Murphy, in the press box. And I almost said, man, this is why you signed this guy. And then he hits the home run to left field and puts the Phillies in front. And Dave and I just kind of looked at each other like, oh, my God, can you believe he just did that? And then we did exactly the same thing last night in the first inning after he homered off McCullers. It's the improbability of the run. It's the fact that this team, personality-wise, I think connects with the city pretty well. You go back to those teams in 08 and 09, the fans had a chance to watch the core of that team develop. They had seen Rollins, Utley, Howard, Hamels mature over time and grow up. This team kind of hasn't been like that. Big signing of Bryce Harper, obviously, signing Kyle Schwarber, signing Nick Castellanos, kind of a mixture of guys. But the town has taken to them. And I think the final piece of the puzzle here, obviously, is that this town was starved to have good baseball to watch. Mm-hmm. And now you're watching really, really, really good baseball and a team with an explosive offense that makes it exciting to go to the park. As you said, Rob, I think it's just a combination of a ton of factors that have made this just a remarkable run to watch and be a part of.
Mike, I'm glad you said remarkable run, because under that category of remarkable, we can't emphasize enough that if Major League Baseball doesn't expand the playoff format, they're not even in the playoffs.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
It really is. I mean, you kind of forget that, Gunnar, because we had talked about this team all year. If you really paid attention, and I think that's another factor we're looking at, like fans were waiting for the right time to kind of give themselves over to these guys, to really believe in them. And that they needed to be, the team needed to prove it to the fan base that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with. But the thinking always was, boy, if these guys ever hit all at once, or if Nola and Wheeler, you had to face them in a short playoff series, they might be tough. And then they get the last playoff spot, and all those things that everybody thought might make the Phillies a tough out in the postseason have made them an incredibly tough out in the postseason. And then you layer onto that atmosphere at that ballpark. Honestly, guys, I have never seen anything like this, where a crowd is that engaged from pitch to pitch, that loud pitch to pitch, and you can see the effect it has on the other team. I think we can overstate home field advantage or home court advantage or home ice advantage in sports a lot. You cannot overstate it in this situation. You can see it affecting the Braves and the Padres and the Astros. Lance McCullers Jr. looked like he had tics out there last night. He looked nervous, and whether he was or he wasn't, it didn't matter. He gave up 5 home runs.
No, it was unbelievable. Go ahead, Doc.
I was going to say, how do we get this? What made John Middleton go out and sign Schwarber and Castellanos and, go over the luxury tax and be totally in with this year as opposed to years prior? What made him just take this, all right, this notion, all right, I got to field a better team?
Well, first of all, hiring Dave Dombrowski, who's he's an all-time great GM, has taken the Florida Marlins, the Detroit Tigers, the Boston Red Sox, all to the World Series, won championships with the Marlins and the Red Sox. He's like Pat Gillick part 2, basically. And there's that. And Dombrowski, is known for this. He's known for taking a team that's pretty close and making moves to put that team over the top. And to answer your question, Barrett, I think John Middleton, since he became the Phillies managing partner, pretty much has been impatient about wanting to get back to the World Series and win a championship, and has been willing to do whatever his baseball people have told him to try to do. You remember, I was the one who quoted him back in 2009 after they lost to the Yankees in Game 6 of that World Series. He was kneeling in front of Ryan Howard, and he said, "That's our bleeping trophy, and I want it back." And that has been the guiding principle for him as a managing partner. And at first, it led him to following the advice of Andy McPhail and Matt Klentak and saying, we got to rebuild this thing. And after a while, that wasn't working. And then they've gone with Dombrowski's strategy of just go out and sign guys who can bash. And here we are. They have a lineup full of guys, none of whom is an easy out, none of whom is an automatic out. I mean, you've got Brandon Marsh hitting 2 big home runs in this postseason out of the 9 spot. That tells you all you need to know.
Well, Mike, stay on that theme for a minute. Castellanos with 3 incredible catches, one of which absolutely saved a game. The other one, I think in Atlanta, likely saved what would have been one of the all-time, just choke jobs in a game. And then last night completely sets the tone because Houston jumped all over the Phillies in game 2. It looked like it was the same approach. Swing early and try and get something going. If that gets past him and it's a double or triple, who knows how Suarez pitches? Who knows how that whole game flips on its ear?
I love stuff like this, Rob. I mean, when baseball is interesting and exciting, I love stories like this. Like I watch Nick Castellanos making sliding catches in right field throughout this postseason, and I'm probably like you. Like my mind goes back to Kim Batiste in 1993 in the NLCS, where he's brought in to be a defensive replacement for Dave Hollins, and throws a ball away, throws a dead double play ball away. It looks like it's going to cost the Phillies a game, and then he goes and gets the game-winning hit in the bottom of the inning, and that's not why he was in the game. And it was the only at-bat he had that entire postseason. I love stuff like this. And suddenly Nick Castellanos turning into the greatest defensive right fielder since Roberto Clemente is just an awesome, awesome story. And he was very funny and kind of self-effacing about it last night in the clubhouse after the game. He's like, he basically said, like, yeah, I'm paying attention more during the playoffs than I am during the regular season. Like in the regular season, I'm thinking about geopolitics and what I'm going to have for dinner tomorrow night and all this kind of stuff. And now I'm locked in pitch to pitch. He was tongue in cheek, but there was some truth to it.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, how concerned are you or should we be about Aaron Nola this postseason? Normally he had those dips in his performances in September where he rose to the occasion when he had to in September, but now it appears to have carried over into October. His last 2 outings have been less than Nolo-esque, so to speak. Is there a genuine concern in what we're watching from him?
I'm a little nervous about tonight, Gunner, or at least I would be if I, were a huge Phillies fan and had something riding on this. Only because, as you said, the last 2 starts have not been great. I kind of thought that start against the Padres in the NLCS was a function of him being too jacked up for the game. Maybe the idea of facing his brother. His velocity was up in that game. Like he was throwing 95 and 96 consistently, and that's not Aaron Nola generally through the regular season, and his location was off. And of course, his location was off again in game 1 of the World Series. But here's the thing. The counterpoint to that is it's rare that Aaron Nola pitches 3 bad games in a row. Right. It just is, no matter what the time of the year. So you got to think that, there's a good chance the Phillies are going to get really good Aaron Nola tonight.
Mike, let's go back to your piece on Schwarber, because it was a big debate really the entire season. And a lot of it was the old school people view it as you need your speedy leadoff guy. Set the table. He's going to steal a base, going to lay a bunt down, et cetera, hit for high average, high on base. That's not what he is. We know that. He's a basher, but they seem to feed off of this guy. And it's not just what he does necessarily between the lines. It's what he brings in the clubhouse as well. So just give me a gist of kind of what your piece for people who didn't maybe necessarily read it.
Sure. Well, I didn't even get into what he brings to them in the clubhouse and off the field. I mean, he's been a leader from day one. In fact, JT Realmuto said during the NLCS that take away what he does in the batter's box, he's been infinitely better for us, in the clubhouse as a leader, all of those things. But I asked Castellanos about this last night. Like, what does Schwarber give them at the top of the lineup with that combination of power and pitch selection? Because you're right, Rob. This debate had gone on all season. Why are they batting him leadoff? Why don't they hit him third? That way he'll come up with men on base and things like that. And Castellanos made a really good point. And I didn't include it in the column, but the guy he used as an example was D. Gordon, if you guys remember him. Yeah. Really good leadoff hitter for a number of years. He said there was really no threat that D. Gordon was ever going to hit a ball out of the ballpark, right? But he was fast and he could get on base if you weren't careful. So what would you do with D. Gordon leading off? What would a pitcher do? Probably pound him with fastballs. You don't want to walk him. You want to try to get him out, and you're not worried about him hitting a home run. So just throw fastball after fastball and take your chances. Well, you can't do that with Schwarber, right? You pound fastballs at him, he's going to hit one of them. He's going to hit one of them out of the park. So already, the likelihood is that the entire lineup behind Schwarber is going to see the starting pitcher's entire repertoire in that at bat. Because Schwarber has such a good eye, and he's going to lock in on his pitch, and he's not going to chase anything if it's not something that he really wants to swing at. So look at that first at bat last night. He took McCullers to a 3-2 count and worked a walk, And 2 batters later, Bryce Harper hits a home run, and it's 2-0. And that kind of component out of the leadoff spot, to me, counteracts whether he can steal a base or whether he's going to hit a double or a triple. I mean, the guy hit 46 home runs this season. And then to that final point about, well, he never comes up with men on base, he came up with a man on last night and hit a home run. So, that happens too once in a while.
Yeah, that's just the start of just the start of this season. And, look at the roster that we have right now. I mean, Herrera's not here anymore. Moniak's not here anymore. This is like a totally different team that I don't even recognize this team from the start of the season. And to now, man, it's incredible the jump we have with the new manager and everything else, man. I mean, just comparing the two and how far they've gone, man, they did a miraculous job, man, just filling this roster right. I mean, we got Syndergaard coming up, tomorrow. This is totally different than what we had at the beginning.
Yeah, you generally have proven guys, Barrett. And I think what you're talking about comes down to something I said to somebody in the press box last night. Late in the game, I forget what inning it was, an Astros player hit a really high, tricky fly ball to center field. And Brandon Marsh made a pretty good play on it. It was kind of shallow, kind of in between. You guys might remember it. It was kind of right where the second baseman or shortstop would have a really tough time with it. And Marsh ended up kind of catching it off to the side and struggling with it. But he made a good play on it. And I said to the guy next to me, I said, if Odubel Herrera had been the center fielder on that play, he'd have passed out. Like, he just wouldn't have been able to deal with it. And,
Moniak either.
Yeah, even little things like that go a long way. Brandon Marsh has just kind of stabilized the outfield defense. He made a couple of good plays last night. You see the strides that Alec Boehm has made at third base and how much better defensively he is now compared to what he was at the beginning of the season. And those are things that you can't quantify on paper, right? You can't say, well, we'll just take for granted that Alec Boehm will go from being terrible defensively to being average to above average, and it'll help us immeasurably come the playoffs. You don't plan for that kind of thing, but it happens, and here they are, 2 wins from a championship.
Hey, Mike, are you exclusively on baseball right now, or will you detour and head down to Houston to cover that game?
No, Marcus Hayes is heading down to Houston for us today. I'll be at the ballpark tonight and tomorrow night, and then I'll head to Houston if there is a Game 6. But I'll be honest, guys, for my own sanity and just for the ease of my personal life, I would really love the Phillies to finish this thing off in 5 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but how weird potentially is tomorrow night going to be, though? I think everybody hopes this happens, so you don't have to go. You don't, and nobody else has to go to Houston. But can you imagine they finish it off on a night when the Eagles are also playing? Like, that is so weird.
Isn't that something? Isn't that weird?
It's really weird. It's funny, though, Rob. John McClain, who has been just recently retired, like very famous football writer in the Houston area, a legendary writer, had a really good tweet the other day. It was last night. He said, if you think this is bad, meaning the Phillies-Astros game, wait until you see what the Eagles do to the Texans on Thursday night. And so maybe it's a situation for Philly sports fans. Again, nobody wants to get greedy and you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but maybe the Eagles jump out to a quick lead and everybody goes, okay, don't have to worry about that anymore. Turn off Amazon Prime, turn on Fox, and you're watching Game 5.
That would be nice. I got to ask you about the postseason that Harper's having. I said earlier, it reminds me of, Nick Foles in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, just almost untouchable what he's been doing. And you mentioned, yeah, man, what if Harper's home run here? And boom, he does it. But he has carried this over, Mike, through now, St. Louis, Atlanta, the 4th series he's been doing this now. It's unbelievable, this run.
It is. And it's a different dynamic, Rob, a little bit than Foles, right? Because Foles was such an underdog story. He had been the starter. He had thought about retiring. Now he was the backup. The whole team was underdogs. And here he is, lighting it up in the NFC Championship game and outplaying Tom Brady. Well, not quite outplaying Tom Brady, but beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Harper is the guy who's supposed to do this, right? And that almost makes it more unbelievable in a strange way, that he is consistently meeting the measure of every moment, right? Like I said, the home run against the Padres, the home run last night, it's like, boy, wouldn't it be cool if he hit a home run here and then he does it? It's almost like, it's like Roy Hobbs in The Natural or something like that there ought to be like this orchestral music in the background every time he comes to bat. You don't often see that. A guy who is supposed to be that great, who is at his best in these moments that matter most. And we're seeing this out of him. And I think a lot about the fact that he was such a prodigy as a youngster, as a teenager. And on the one hand, you can say, well, he's been in big moments his entire life, right? When you're 12 or 13 and you're playing with 16, 17-year-olds, man, that's really tough. And that's going to prepare you for what's going to come down the pike when you do get to the major leagues. But the flip side of that is, man, we see a lot of prodigies who burn out, who don't make it, who flame out and never live up to the hype and, struggle to live normal lives. And this guy seems like he has matured. He figured it out. He wants to be here. And man, he is delivering in a way that I don't know that we've seen a Philadelphia superstar deliver like this in a long time.
No. Well, the other part of this improbable journey is the manager, right? Who, I think most Phillies fans would have said, what is he, the bench coach? This Thompson? I don't know. I know he's been around. He was with the Yankees. He's a Girardi guy, but really didn't know the whole story of this guy. Just a lifer and sticking around the game. Thought he was never going to get a chance, even though he thought he was qualified. He gets his chance, and here we are. And not only that, Mike, I think in virtually every series, he's managing circles around the opposing manager.
I agree with you completely, Rob. It's funny. You see Rob Thompson in these interviews, you see his demeanor, and he's so reserved, kind of self-deprecating, and yet he makes decisions in each of these games like his rear end is on fire. Yeah. And that's how you have to manage in the baseball playoffs. It is the big difference between him and Dusty Baker in this series right now. It is. It's Baker left Justin Verlander in too long in game 1. He left McCullers in too long in game 3. And the Phillies just thumped those guys. And Thompson has shown no compunction about, hey, if this guy doesn't have it, I'm getting him out of there. And I'll get somebody else in there. And I will make the moves needed to win today. I am not worrying about anything else down the pipe. The only time he didn't do that was in game 2 against the Padres when he left Nola in a little bit too long and Brad Hand in a little bit too long, and it burned him, and he hasn't done it since.
Yeah.
Mike, how shocked are you that Thompson, when you think about how long he had been a part of the game, had never had an opportunity to be a manager before? And I know the Phillies will never admit this, but I would imagine they went into this thing thinking, okay, he'll be the Band-Aid on what we're going through right now until we decide what we want to do at the end of the season. And lo and behold, they have, I don't even like to put him in a category of diamond in the rough, because he has already elevated himself as one of the best strategists in the game in a short amount of time he's been at the helm.
Yeah, the strategy's been great, Gunnar, and I think his demeanor, and I keep using this term, but I think it really applies, like the work environment he creates.
Yeah.
I think franchises in pro sports sometimes can overthink things when it comes to who their coach is, who their manager is. You can go to the lengths of like hiring a guy like Gabe Kapler, who, is a fine manager, but really talks about these things from kind of a lofty sort of perspective, when all you need is somebody who trusts the people who are working under him and puts them in position to be at their best. And I don't think there's any doubt that Rob Thompson does that for this team. His personality and his demeanor and the way he goes about things, those factors were what this team needed to succeed and thrive on a day-to-day basis. And now you have the strategy. The fact that all the decisions he's making are right or turning out to be right is only increasing the confidence and trust that his players have in him.
Well, so Mike, what's your sense? I mean, look, they still need to win 2 more games, and while everybody's feeling great, this is a phenomenal Astros team. And you have a guy in Christian Javier who's formidable to say the least. And it's going to be a challenge. Do the Phillies finish them off in your estimation? And ultimately, how many games do you think it takes?
Rob, I had picked the Astros in 6 at the start of the series. I thought that they wouldn't be intimidated by Citizens Bank Park's atmosphere in the way that the Phillies' previous opponents had been. After last night, that was striking to me, that they just kind of didn't show up, that they couldn't string anything together. And the thing we haven't talked about yet, guys, is that the Phillies shut them out last night with Ranger Suarez and, the bunch of guys who Kyle Gibson, bunch of guys who you wouldn't have thought would necessarily have pitched.
Exactly.
Unless the Phillies needed them to eat innings or Rob Thompson absolutely needed those guys to pitch.
Yep.
Well, guess what? He didn't. And now tonight you have Nola, you have Sir Anthony Dominguez, you have Zach Eflin. You can probably go back to Jose Alvarado. You have David Robertson. it would surprise me at this point if we went back to Houston. Again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it would really surprise me if the Astros pulled out one of these 2 games.
Right. I'm just trying to. I never knew baseball to be a sport in which crowd noise and how the crowd is would directly impact the team. These teams like this crowd here, man. Is it that big? I mean, I know in football it has a dramatic effect on the opposing team because you can't hear anything, you know, whatever. But how is it so different in baseball? And it's become a definite factor here in Philadelphia.
My theory, Barrett, is that there aren't as many ballparks, if any, anymore, where crowd noise is any factor at all. You know, it used to be, you know, Fenway Park would be rabid. Yankee Stadium would be rabid. I'm not sure those environments exist as much anymore. You definitely see it in the NFL. You know, certainly with places like the Superdome or other dome stadiums or Seattle, where whatever's kind of part of the structure of the stadium contributes to the noise. This is different. This is 46,000 people screaming their lungs out on virtually every pitch. And teams don't see that anymore in baseball. Rarely if ever. Right. You know, Tom Verducci referenced the Metrodome in the 1987 and 1991 World Series as being the loudest place he's ever been in for a baseball game. You're going back more than 30 years for something that's comparable to this. And so I think if that crowd is not screaming and seething for you as a Phillies player, it makes it that much harder to go out there and perform because these guys are that much more aware of it because they're not used to it.
All right, Mike. Awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Great stuff. We're looking
Thanks,
forward
guys.
to your story after tonight's game as well. Check it out, Inquirer.com and at Mike Sealski. Mike, looking forward to it. You're on Saturday with Glenn?
I will be on Saturday if I'm not in Houston. If the Phillies finish this off, I will be on Saturday.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it, bro.
I'm going to watch the rest of the program for Gunner to turn it loose on you guys. See you.
D-Gun's happy Mike Sealski was on.
All right. Speaking of, we just keep it rolling, man. We come back, the one and only Ricky Vitalico. Don't go anywhere. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pondley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pondley Hockey Postgame Show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pondley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
We are back. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We haven't had the chance to talk to our next guest in a while, and it's good to have him with us today. What a better day to have him than the one and only Ricky Battalico, NBC Sports.
Slick Rick.
Wait. He graced us with his presence?
Whoa. It's like that.
I've been trying to track this man down since January.
Oh,
Rick,
come on.
Gunner's been firing all day today.
Yeah.
Rick.
Hey, Ricky,
Just
these
get
two,
ready, man.
Ricky, these two, I've been trying to be nice to them, dude. They brought out the worst of me today. I apologize right now, but it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly today, Rick. I'm sorry.
Why are they being so mean, Gunner?
You know, because that's who they are. They portray themselves as these
No.
popping type individuals. But then they attack D-Gun. And D-Gun was just trying to be a happier person, living in a happier place in his life. They won't let Rick, when you get out, they bring you back in. That's the problem.
Just like fishing.
Yeah, I'm playing the world's smallest violin right now. Unbelievable. Oh, hey, by the way,
Barrett's the only one with his own show here.
that's a good point. That is a good point.
That is true.
Yes.
Wow.
So I thought this was cool, Rick. I'll get your reaction to this one first.
Yep.
I think a great choice by the Phillies. Utley and Rollins throwing out the first pitch tonight, man. Pretty cool, right?
I think it's pretty awesome. I think they did a nice job last night with all the champions out there. I thought that was great. Obviously, Chase and Jimmy, I mean, you knew they were going to throw it out at some point. I think it's good timing. Did they release who's going to do game 5 if that's a possible clincher?
No, I don't think.
No.
How about Lidge and Chooch? How cool would that be?
That would be perfect because
Right?
that's what obviously the last out of the 2008. I mean, that would be outstanding. Hey, that's a good choice, Rob. Maybe you should, talk to the Phillies.
I'll call up our guys. I'll call up our people over there. I'll get Frazier involved and we'll get them all.
There were a lot of I guess stars there last night.
There were.
Tim McGraw, you see
Unbelievable,
what Tim
man.
McGraw did? That was
so cool. When he turned
Kate
around and pointed
Upton.
to Tugger's old number, man.
Kate
that was
Upton
great.
did see her close up.
Yeah.
She is not ugly.
Whoa. And I'll tell you what, the sweater was fitting quite well last night. I'll just leave it at that. That's all. That's all.
What, Kate Upton?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
She looked very nice.
Did she have the purple shoulderless? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. I think we're on the same page.
She's the posing.
I didn't see any of that stuff you guys are talking about.
Me neither.
Of course you didn't, Gunner.
I like where I live, Ricky.
Yeah, he'll be kicked out of his home studio very quickly, Rick, if he keeps that up.
He needs a glass of milk, is what he needs.
Yeah, yes. I before we go to get the last thing, everything. Just give me your sense, your vibe as a pitcher, just your intuitive sense of what you're thinking about Nola tonight. Do you have any kind of idea what we're going to get here?
Oh, if I were to say yes, I'd be out of my mind. I just think, you know what? When was the last time, and this is an easy way to live, when was the last time you saw Aaron Nola have 3 bad starts in a row?
Right.
The answer is you haven't.
Right.
So I guess the odds are with him. But, I mean, what concerns me the most, it has been a long season. We're seeing what's happening to Wheeler right now. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be some cause for concern. I think it's good that you look at last night. They didn't use any of the high leverage guys out of the bullpen. That's a positive for the Phillies. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if he goes 5 innings, 6 innings, gives you two runs or less, I think that's a win for the Phillies. And the bullpen should be able to take care of that, considering who you have there and how fresh they are. But Aaron, I mean, I think it's very simple. He's got to stay on top of everything. When he starts floating the baseball, which means getting on the side of the baseball, and like with his curveball kind of casting it, it just kind of floats in. That's when he's going to be in trouble. But you'll be able to notice this fairly quickly. Within 2 innings, you'll notice if he has his good stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you could work through that, and I'm sure Rob Thompson knows. I mean, he had a reliever up yesterday in the 5th inning with Ranger pitching. I'm like, Ranger looks pretty good. I'm wondering what Rob is seeing. Mm-hmm. And because I saw him get the pitcher up, I was over at the ballpark, and then all of a sudden Ranger started losing the strike zone a little bit. Yeah. The Phillies are not I don't necessarily think they were really equipped to go through this postseason this year.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, pitching wise, you look at the Astros, they're the only team the Phillies have faced that have 4 starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Think about it. The Braves didn't. Strider
true.
came in. He wasn't ready to go. The Padres certainly didn't. Clevenger went 0 innings in that game he started. It's just a weird situation this year in Major League Baseball. I don't know whether it's because these teams didn't think they were going to get this far or what. But, I mean, I'm sure the Phillies, though, will fix that in the offseason. But, I mean, right now, I know the term all hands on deck. It is truly that for the Phillies these next 2 days.
Win or go home,
Ricky,
man.
Yeah, Ricky, staying with the pitching theme for just a moment, because if that rumor out there is true that McCullers was tipping his pitches, so to speak. Now, Pedro Martinez on the MLB Network came out and said after the game that you could tell when he would go high with his glove, it was going to be a breaking pitch. When his glove was lower, it was a fastball. And obviously, Bryce calling Bone back told him something, and it just filtered throughout that dugout. But my question is, if they picked it up on that side, how is it that Dusty Baker, Houston pitching coach, their big price hitters, bullpen people didn't pick up on that as well?
Maybe they're just not, I mean, this might sound stupid. Maybe they're not paying attention in that sense. I mean, maybe they're just focused on every result that's happening and not exactly what he's doing in his windup and mechanics. I did look at it. I mean, there was a little deviation with his leg and a little deviation with his glove, like you said. But I mean, that's something that you can't really fix in game.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds weird, but it's something he's probably been doing for games. And the Phillies, because if you notice, Bryce went up to K-Long first. And that tells me that K-Long might have said something like a couple days earlier, like, hey, McCullers, keep an eye out for this, this, and this. And, you know, maybe McCullers doesn't do it every time. But yesterday, you know, if it was a telltale sign, it certainly showed, because the Phillies walloped them pretty good. And in my eyes, when you're a breaking ball pitcher, if all those pitches aren't perfect and they know what's coming, you're in big trouble and you're in for a long night. I will say this much. When I was in Double-A, I'll never forget, for some reason we would play Canton, the Indians, and they had Manny Ramirez. They had all these boppers on that team at that time. And every time I would go and pitch against them, not that I would give up a lot of runs, but they'd get some hits off me. And back then I wasn't used to giving up anything. And finally, the last game of the season, one of their coaches, as we're walking off the field, stops me and said, you need to get a cover for your index finger, because every time I would throw my curveball, my index finger would go up in the air. And I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it, and a lot of teams didn't notice it, but they did. They noticed it. Some teams just have a knack for finding out little things.
Wow,
That's interesting.
Crazy. That is crazy. But Baker versus Thompson, man. You would think that, you know, the seasoned veteran that Baker is, you know, he would have done more to help his pitchers out last night. But, I mean, this is like, you know, Thompson has complete control of his entire team. You know, what's the difference right now?
Well, the difference is, number one, Rob Thompson took Joe Girardi's analytics and turned it into a baseball program. He didn't turn it into a computer anymore. If you think about it, what are the words you hear from the team? We're going out, we're having fun. We're playing the game. We're playing the game right. We trust Topper. All these statements do not sound like they're coming off of a printing machine.
Right.
And so I look at it in a different way. I know for a fact that there were certain guys that were here, and there's a couple are still here, so I'm not going to bring up names, but they have said that they were being fed information when they were getting ready to go hit. You can't play like that. You can't play the game like that. Barrett, you know, you played on a football field, and I know you're getting information from your quarterback when you're sitting out there, or you know, defensively there's yelling out signals. But my whole thing is, that's fine and dandy, but you have to do your homework before you get on the field.
Absolutely, you got to have a game plan yourself.
Yep. Yeah, and I think these guys were having trouble. I guess, figuring out how to plan for their at-bats. And what was happening is that you're getting dished information as you're walking to the plate. And if something is different when you get up there, you're done. You know what happened to? Scott Kingery, it definitely happened to.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say he was definitely one of those guys. And to me, I think Rob Thompson has simplified the game. And I know you just said, well, the veteran Dusty Baker and the new guy, Rob Thompson. Rob is not new. Rob probably knows more than most managers in baseball, period. I mean, he's been around the game forever, and he's been on the bench forever. So when you're doing that, you're learning from a lot of different people. And quite frankly, as a bench coach, you're looking at guys and you're saying to yourself, how would I do things differently? Or would I do this the same? So he's been learning for years and years and years. I think he just changed culture. And this team is just going out and having fun playing baseball, which is something you don't, you see all the signage and the dances and stuff like that, but just being able to come to the ballpark every day, sometimes it gets grueling. I think he took that away.
Then, Ricky, I'll ask you this, as I asked Mike Sealski a few moments ago. How is it a Rob Thompson slips through the cracks and only gets his first managerial chance by accident? And like I asked Mike, I said, I'm sure the Phillies will never admit this, but I'm sure they were thinking he's only a Band-Aid to hold this thing together until after the season so we can go out and possibly get a big-name manager.
Well, I think he was getting pushed by Bryce Harper, to be completely honest with you. That's the word that I've heard, is that Harper was like, don't pass on Thompson. I mean, it's just one of those things where when you have players pushing for you, especially a player of that magnitude, there's a good chance you're getting in there. And I think it was up to Rob once he got in there. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think it was up to him how he portrayed himself to the players, how he directed this team after Girardi was gone. And he's done a great job. And I mean, we might look at some of the moves and go, what the hell is he thinking here? And the next thing you know, it turns to gold. I mean, sometimes that's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow too. I mean, it could be a little flukish, but I think he has the complete attention span of the players. And to go in there and wonder why he didn't get a job earlier is beyond me. I mean, I know he spent a lot of years with the Yankees. He was with Aaron Boone, and he was with Joe Girardi at times. It's just, they always look outward. Think about this for a second. Dusty Wathan. How has he not gotten a managerial job yet?
Yeah.
So there's always guys that are kind of glossed over.
Rick, let's stay on him for a minute with his managerial style. Like, he's taken the very aggressive approach. Like, I'm worried about this game. I'll figure out everything else afterwards. And it really has worked. And we've seen it with both certainly Dusty so far in this one. You want to go to Melvin in the Padres, you could take it back to the Brave series, whatever. But he has, I'd rather he be this way than sort of passive, or I got to wait till the Girardi was big on, we got a long season, but Thompson is like, get this one and figure everything else out. Is that him? Is that a mandate from Dombrowski and the organization?
Oh, no. That is 100% on him. This is not about Dombrowski. Dombrowski has come out and said that it's Rob's team. Because I think Dombrowski is a firm believer in who he has managing the team, runs the team, which is part of the culture change here. If you think Gabe Kapler was running the team every day, no chance. No. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where you have to give somebody some authority. And once you gave Rob the authority, I think he immediately knew he had to change what was in that clubhouse and the feeling that was in that clubhouse. And let's face it, he did it rather quickly. And that just goes to show that the talent was there. Right. It just wasn't coming out with somebody else. And when he took over, I think he just relaxed the guys.
I think that was huge because, if you look at how he approached yesterday's game, I mean, to go from not playing on Tuesday to now playing not playing on Monday to playing on Tuesday, then you turn around and you make some things happen. As far as pitching, you change it up. Suarez goes out there instead of Syndergaard. I mean, all those things are kind of a feeling thing for him as opposed to analytics, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think he goes with his gut. That's something you don't see in Major League Baseball a lot anymore, but he has good feelings about what's going to happen in certain types of situations. Some of them backfire. He started Sosa last week. That kind of backfired on him a little bit. Sosa really didn't give you anything offensively, and he made an error defensively that probably should have been caught by Hoskins, but nonetheless, I mean, he's still taking chances. He's still doing different things. But he's put a trust in certain guys, and I'll bring up a Bryson Stott, a Garrett Stubbs when he does. I mean, Stubbs, he's probably done playing this year, but for the most part during the season, he's given these guys confidence. Think about Matt Vierling, perfect example. Comes up, starts opening day, doesn't get the job done, is sent down by Girardi. I know that's not all Girardi's doing, but Girardi stopped playing him there too for a little while before he was sent down. And he goes down, does what he has to do, an injury or two occurs, and all of a sudden he's back up. But it's with Topper. And the one thing about Topper was, I'm going to play these guys. You know, you have to get these guys some experience throughout the year. And I think he's done a really nice job of that. Bryson Stott, same thing. I mean, he got sent down because he wasn't playing well early on. But when he came back, he plugged him into the lineup. I mean, go as far as Derek Hall. Derek Hall comes up and he puts him in the 4-hole.
Right.
That Major League Baseball.
That's fearless. Yeah.
And he reacted in the right way. He started bombing home runs.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to give these guys some kind of confidence. And that's what I think he really brings to the table is he is confident in his players and that he's going to put them in a good spot to succeed.
And Ricky, even when things go bad, he kept putting them out there. How big is that in terms of, especially as we got to late August, September, the Brewers creeping closer and, you know, managers get jittery. All of a sudden, you start making mistakes. You're sitting on the bench. How big was that in terms, especially for these young guys, not have to worry about looking over their shoulders day in and day out?
I think it gives you a little sense of security. As a player, you feel as though it's okay to make mistakes because that's what, let's face it, baseball, that's what baseball is.
Yeah.
I mean, you make mistakes all the time in baseball, and a lot of them are physical, but there are those mental ones. And usually when it's mental mistakes, that's telling somebody that you need a day or two off.
Yeah.
But and I think he picks up on that also, and he gives them days off. Like I think your starters need a day off every once in a while, and he was stuck with this Harper situation where he had to put him in DH, which wasn't the plan at all early on in the year. Now all of a sudden this becomes a big part of the plan. That had to be some kind of an issue for him, trying to figure out when do I get certain days off. And then when Harper went on the IL, I think that eased his pain a little bit in a strange way.
Yeah.
But I will say this much. I came up with Jim Fregosi, and my first year, if I had a bad outing, you could bet your ass I was in there the next night just to get that taste out of my mouth immediately.
Wow.
That just gave me confidence that he was going to use me all the time. I mean, that's a good feeling as a baseball player.
Well, Rick, I wonder if Girardi's they're not playing now, but if he was kept on, Gregorius is probably still the starting shortstop. You know, I don't think he would have trusted Bohm enough to play him at third. It would have been some veteran they probably picked up somewhere. The trust of the young guys has been amazing.
Yeah, I don't think they make the playoffs if he was here. I think they would have continued on that rocky road. Let's face it, when we saw Girardi in his press conferences, he looked checked out.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that about somebody, but he looked like he had no interest in being there anymore. It was like almost sick of answering easy questions. They're like, I mean, in all honesty, the questions that were being asked of him early on in the year were not very hard questions to answer, and he didn't even want to answer those. So it was a checkout. Go ahead.
All right. So, Ricky, what are some of the little intricacies that you'll be watching closely for in the game tonight?
I think Aaron Nola's pitch location early on in the ball game, especially his fastball location, is that sinker that comes in off of the left-handed batter's box. If he's locating that, I think that's always a telltale sign that he's on top of the baseball and he's throwing the ball well. Right. The other thing is the depth on his curveball. I think that'll be noticeable even on TV. You'll get a good look at it. If it's not a 12-6 type curveball, then you got to wonder, is he a little bit tired? Is he getting under the baseball a little bit? It's just going to be, I think it's the same factor as with a Wheeler. Is he a little fatigued right now? How closely do we have to watch that? And I mean, the ball being flat. I mean, I guess I could notice it on TV. I don't know if you guys could. I know you guys watch a lot of baseball, but you could see if there's no jump on the baseball, and the hitters will let you know that pretty early on in the game. That's why I said about 2 innings in, you'll know exactly what you have in Aaron Nola. And I don't know. He's just one of those guys I feel like is due for a big game. And this is the needed one, because this could be a pitcher's duel tonight. If Nola is on top of his game, I think this could definitely be a pitcher's duel.
Yeah, Javier, who's going for the Astros, has been dealing. That's for sure. Rick,
170 batting average against for the year.
Yeah, don't love that. The bullpen, you know, your area of expertise for sure. These guys, unheralded in a lot of ways. You know, we're throwing praise at Harper, we're throwing praise at Schwarber and everybody else, rightfully so. Rob Thompson, quietly, even the kind of unheralded guys have all really stepped up here, Rick.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of everybody. I mean, when your bullpen has a 0 ERA through 3 games of a World Series, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I just think it's the snowball effect. When one guy's going good, you kind of thrive off of that, and it becomes easier for everybody else. I always said when I was closing in a bullpen that if I had good setup guys in front of me, it made my job 100 times easier because momentum. It's all about killing momentum. And if you have that one guy go in there with a runner on second base and 1 out and you get out of that inning with no runs, that's going to roll over because the other team plays dead at that point, and then you could go out there and just pitch your game. And even look, Gibson and Bilotti, these guys have stepped up a little bit. Nelson has stepped up even yesterday. But that's what Hand hasn't really pitched that much. But
no, but when he got in there, he pitched a shutout inning.
He's a one-pitch pitcher. That's
I know. But, I mean, you think about it, though, because when they put him in the game Sunday, I'm thinking Houston's about to blow the doors off this game. He went in there and held his own against them.
Yeah, he's been around long enough where, you know what, you have a couple bad outings. He could fix himself. He could right the ship a little bit. And I know he came off of the IL, too, so you got to wonder if he's 100% also.
Right.
I think a lot of these guys are running on fumes, but they're doing a nice job out there in the bullpen. And let's face it, the Astros bullpen was the one that was highly touted coming into this one.
Absolutely.
The Phillies have kind of, kicked dirt on their face.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, I got to ask you this, Rick, because this has been a big topic we've talked about for the last couple of days. You look at how they move Wheeler back in this rotation now, okay? And we know that he was dealing with the tendonitis, and when a series of this magnitude and your number one pitcher, it keeps sliding back. From your perspective, is there anything in your mind that says, I wonder if the tendonitis has resurfaced, they're giving him as many extra days as possible to let this thing heal up a little bit?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I know they keep saying it's fatigue, but fatigue is sometimes it's either a dead arm or it's like a tendonitis thing.
Yeah.
That could go away. I mean, maybe they gave him some kind of a shot that we don't know about, a couple days ago to see if he can't get through this. But yeah, there should be some concern. I mean, I think if you asked Rob one-on-one, Rob, what are you thinking? I hope he's probably going to tell you, I hope this gets over in 5.
Right. Well, let me ask you this then. Who has the most gas then? Eflin, Alvarado, Dominguez? Who has the most gas? You said these guys are running out of gas right now. Who would you trust?
Well, I would say on one day, like if they're only going out there for one day, I think they're all pretty good. When you have to start going 2, maybe 3 days in a row, that might you'll see a lot of fatigued arms out there. But I mean, the only thing you could do right now is go out there with the best of your ability and hopefully things go well. And I mean, even Sir Anthony has shown some wear. I mean, he's coming off of elbow surgery. He hasn't pitched as much in years. So you expect that. I think the one guy who really hasn't shown much, but if you pitch him 2-3 days in a row, he shows it a little bit, is Alvarado.
Yep.
I mean, this guy's filthy.
He's
filthy.
He's a great transformation. Yeah, I mean, he goes down. He doesn't complain about it. He works on things, and he comes back up, and he's a different guy. I give him all the props in the world, man. He handled it like a pro, and it's paying the dividends for him.
Yeah, he went down and he fixed himself, and he came up, and he came back with a vengeance. I mean, that's something you'd love to see, and he's come back with a little moxie, to say the least. I think he enjoys doing what he's doing right now and understands that he's one of the best in the game.
All right, Rick, last one from me. Does it get back to Houston? B, do they win it if it does get back to Houston?
Obviously, it comes down to tonight. If they win tonight, I think it's over. I just think Aaron Nola is going to pitch a good game. I think they finish it in 5 now. I did say Phillies in 6 to start, but I think if the offense comes out like they did last night, this is going to be ugly for Houston.
Wow. All right. Good stuff. Rick, thanks, man.
Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate you, bro.
Catching up with you. Awesome job on the pre and post game show with Michael B and the boys and on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, man, don't bother me today, man.
See, Barrett?
See, there he goes again, Ricky. This is what I'm talking about right here.
You guys understand, Rick is he's doing his show, and he has a ball, and he's throwing it. He's throwing it at the wall.
Against the glass, and I didn't know it made noise on the other side.
Right. So nobody wants to say anything to
Ricky is fun in the newsroom. I will just say that.
I try to be.
Yes. Rick, we appreciate that.
Don't ever change, brother.
Don't ever change.
No, don't worry about that. He will not change. That's for sure.
He's like D-Gun.
Exactly right. Verlander will get the start for Houston in Game 5. So tomorrow it will be Verlander. We know how, that first game he started off hot, and then second time around they started getting to him. So we'll see what adjustments he makes.
I tell him, you have 3 innings max to show me what you can do, and you may not have that because of your history in the World Series. I told you I wouldn't start him again. I wouldn't start him again if I was Houston.
Yeah, Dusty's putting a lot of faith in him, man.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is.
You know, wouldn't you, even with that record, wouldn't you have a lot of faith? I would.
No, because I think their pitching staff is deep enough. Outside McCullers got lit up last night, but again, you look at McCullers' overall numbers. He doesn't leave the yard that much. His balls don't leave the yard. They just got him last night.
Yeah.
You look at this Houston pitching staff, Barrett, they have 4 other options to put in there in their starting rotation. I would bring Verlander in as my first guy out of the bullpen for 2 innings. History has shown his first 2 innings, he's nasty. After that, you still have plenty of depth in that bullpen to go to.
Yeah.
I would not start him.
It's going to be fascinating. It's definitely a move you're going to look at long and hard, man, if it doesn't work out for sure. All right, so we'll come back. We will set our sights on the Birds. Yes, they have a game tomorrow night, believe it or not, in all the Phillies hysteria. The Eagles do play tomorrow night, so we'll dive into the Eagles when we get back. Don't go anywhere. D. Gunn, B. Brooks, R. Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call or reach out to if your home, your business, or a property that you own has gone through or is, in the midst of going through the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, whatever the case may be. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. I called them on a Saturday. They got right over. They fixed the problem. They cleaned it up. The crew was professional, and the price was reasonable. Every box checked. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. Pro Action Restoration has been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction also with your insurance company. So again, it could be fire, it could be water, it could be smoke, it could be mold remediation, any of the above. If you're not really sure, if you're having an issue, you can call them and get a consultation. 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Ponley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Ponley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Ponley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Barrett's chair. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Gunner's muted. Barrett's not there.
No, I'm not. I'm just playing around.
Oh, hi. So we just wrapped things up with Ricky Patalico and Mike Sealski. By the way, if you missed any of that, you want to catch either portions or the interviews in their entirety, or if you missed our show yesterday, whatever the case may be, just go to JAKIB Sports YouTube Network or jakibsports.com. You can catch all of that stuff. So there's Barrett. So a couple things here. Go ahead, Derek. Give it to him.
No.
Don't make a scene now. I can make a scene all the time. Never make a scene now.
Okay.
You're
what does
always
that even,
late.
What does that even mean? What does
You're
that mean?
always late, and I don't say anything. I just keep him pushing.
Well, okay, because I'm accurate. I'm telling the truth.
What are you talking about?
You said you're always late. Well, yeah, if I said it, I'm telling the truth. I mean, I wouldn't be lying, would I?
No.
Okay. All right, we can move on. Let's go. Let's move on.
All right.
D-Gun's happy now.
Okay, we'll keep moving. All right, let's look at the Eagles here, guys, because they are undefeated.
Start, man. What did you start today, Rob?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you too. That's it. I'm done. I'm done being nice. I'm going back.
No more Mr. Nice Guy for Derek.
No.
All right, so Eagles are attempting to go 8-0, 8-0 on the season. The only undefeated team.
They'll be 8-0 at halftime.
Good. I'm glad you bring that up. Let's start there, right? Because you guys know it's dangerous in any professional, college too, but any professional sports league to do the, hey, this thing's over before it's over. But if there's ever a matchup that feels like that, especially this game, you have an undefeated team versus a team that has 1 win and a tie, okay, that just got trucked the previous week by the Tennessee Titans. An Eagles team that absolutely can run the ball, with the best of them. This does set up like a beatdown, but I hate saying that kind of stuff because it always bites you when you do.
I know, man, but come on, Rob. I mean, seriously, and Rob, I try to be as objective as possible when we discuss every topic, but come on, man, this is like General Custer leading his troops to Custer's last stand. I mean, serious. This is bad. This game is. I shouldn't even have to watch this mess tomorrow.
Well, listen, real quick. Do you guys remember? I think we talked about this Monday. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? But I said to you, man, I can't believe at one point this line. It was either on Monday or I looked at it Sunday, and the line was like 9 or 9.5. Right? Do you know what it's up to now?
18.
It's 14. What? The line's 14, man. Like that's like a homecoming, line in college. Like I'm looking at the rest of the league, and
that's bad.
So you got the Jets and the Bills. The Bills are 12.5-point favorites in that game. Okay, that's a high line too. Chiefs and the Titans. The Titans have won 4 straight, and the Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites at home.
Well, what?
Oh, the team that's won 4 straight. There's some wacky stuff going on this week.
Okay, man. Look at who Tennessee's beaten. Okay, look at their record and look at who they've beaten.
Texans being one of them.
Yeah. That comes into play. I mean, they ran for 300 yards against the Texans and only scored 17 points. That should tell you all you need to know right there.
Yeah, they ran for 314, Henry 219, and a 6.8 average.
There you go.
And they still didn't, wipe the floor up with them.
No, so they only passed the ball, what,
6 times? 6 times, yeah.
That's, you see that. I don't think that – I know we got to understand this. It's a Houston team. They have professional guys on their side of the ball, too. They get paid, too.
Do they?
But they just did.
Well, they do get paid.
Right.
Are they professionals? No.
Do they have enough? That's. I look at their roster. Nico Collins was a guy that was supposed to come out his shell and be, and it was playing good the first couple of weeks.
Right.
You know, he was reliable. Brandon Cooks injured, you know,
and unhappy, by the way, that he's still there.
Disgruntled employee.
Did you guys see that Twitter I sent you?
Yeah, cryptic text and everything else.
It wasn't even cryptic. He's basically like, okay,
you guys lied to me.
Yeah, you forced me to stay here. I'm going to start digging up all the dirt that I have.
Right. So you got Philip Dorsett. Where was he? Who was with Philip Dorsett? Was he with Baltimore for a little while? Where did he go?
He's bounced a little bit.
No, he's with the Colts.
The Colts. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The Colts. And I just don't see enough firepower. Yes, you have Damon Pierce, who was a really good running back while he was in Florida. I know they said, oh, he wasn't a starter. Well, they had a pretty good team back then.
Right.
So they threw the ball a lot more than run the ball. And when he did get opportunity, he used to bust it, man. He played well because he got a lot of 6-man boxes when he had to run with. I just don't see they have enough on either, like we said, Derek Stingley, this year's first round draft choice, Jalen Petrie from, Baylor. Both of these guys were supposed to start from day one coming in. That's a lot of guys that are, young guys. Christian Harris, linebacker from Alabama. Did a lot of research on him. I thought he was a 2nd round pick. They got him in the 3rd round.
Mm-hmm.
Can run, plays everything right, but he's still a rookie. And then Collins, the defensive lineman, Lick Collins, the defensive lineman, he's out this week. They really don't have enough to be good. Not even talking about, be serviceable, but they don't have enough to be good. They're just not a good team right now. They're void of talent. They let a lot of their talent go, and they're trying to rebuild this team. But they're going to year 3 of trying to rebuild the team. After let Hopkins go, they let Watt go, they let everybody go, and they're still rebuilding. I don't understand.
Plus you got a new coach, new philosophy this year, so that sets them back also. But you look at this Houston defense, Bear. They're giving up 403.6 yards a game. They're giving up 186 yards rushing a game, which was inflated by Tennessee running for 900 yards on them last week. But the weird thing is they're only giving up 22 points a game. Right. So they're the epitome of a bend but don't break defense. They just can't do much offense. It's like watching the repeat of the Pittsburgh game, except they have less
weapons.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It'll be that way.
Offensively, they're 31st. They average 92 yards a game rushing. They score 16.6 points a game. They're averaging 288.7 yards a game on offense. It's like watching Pittsburgh all over again, man.
Yeah.
I should get paid double for watching this.
And plus Davis Mills, when he left Stanford, I thought he would be a good backup, kind of almost like in the Nick Foles type of range as far as, all right, could be a starter, but it's really a backup. And that's exactly what he is. He's a starter, but he should really be a good backup for somebody.
Right.
Smart kid, understands where to go with the ball, just doesn't have the talent to go with go with his skill set. They just don't have enough. Yeah. He sits back there trying to pass the ball. Offensive line doesn't block well for him. And it's tough on him. It's really tough on him. Has a decent running game that he can go to, but once Pierce is out, they got Rex Burkhead. You guys remember him?
Yeah, he's still around. He's still around. Yeah.
Rex was in he made his hay when he was with the Pats, with the Patriots, and he's still around. He's like their guy to go in on, to be a relief pitcher. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is not a good team.
Well, let me ask you guys from an Eagles perspective. So the trade deadline came and went yesterday at 4. They didn't make any moves. They made a move the week before. They got Robert Quinn. So it's not like they didn't do anything. Were you guys disappointed they didn't make any additional moves? Where do you fall on the trade deadline?
No,
I wasn't.
No, absolutely not. You have everything you in a mediocre in a very suspect conference this year. Howie has added everything that you need to just run right through this conference, and you're going to come across a stumbling block somewhere. We all agree with that. But in terms of getting to where you want to go, They have everything they need right now as long as they can stay healthy. They're in excellent shape right now in terms of frontline players, supporting cast. Now, if they added something else, fine. But the fact that they didn't do anything, not at all. I'm good right now where they are as an overall team.
Absolutely. I was, if anything, they could have got some backups, but do you trade draft capital for backups?
No.
I don't see that as something they need to do. I mean, if anything, everybody's talking about running back. I don't think they need a runner. I think they got 3 pretty good running backs that they can use and rely upon. Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell are serviceable, very serviceable. The fact they can, they were starters for a little bit, so they can play. You know what I'm saying? So, and at this point, Miles Sanders has been relatively healthy. He's been healthy. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't think the running back was a major issue because they don't run with running backs when they get into the red zone or get to the goal line. They have a quarterback that that they use in that capacity.
Well, see, Barry, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I did say on the defensive side of the ball, they could get maybe a safety, maybe another safety can come in and you wouldn't have the production that which they play go down so much when Wallace is in the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were talking about the draft capital. They really don't have the draft capital
that too.
Want to do, which is a good thing for them. Normally, that's a bad thing. But
Yeah.
you got 2 first, a second, a third, and then you don't have another.
You're top
pick right
heavy,
now.
bottom heavy. Yeah,
absolutely. And you got 2 seventh. So they're in great shape. I mean, I'm not giving up a third even in this point.
I'm not either. I'm okay. It's not. They made the Robert Quinn deal. I mean, they got depth at a spot they needed depth. It's nitpicky to really go after them not making any kind of moves.
And you're not going to keep some of these high-priced veterans, but you're in such a good place in the first 3 rounds with 4 picks to replenish the cupboard with potential future star talent.
Derek, especially because we thought those picks are going to be earmarked potentially for a quarterback.
Yep, exactly. And let us not forget, as much as people say, Jalen Hurts about to get paid, from a managerial standpoint, you don't have to pay him after this season. Now, he might be ticked off. His agent might be ticked off. Technically, depending on what you think you identify you need in the offseason, whether free agency or the draft, you don't have to pay this man till 24.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, all right, let's look at this then. I want to start with the positives. Greatest strength of this team through 7 games, for me, it's the diversity. It's the way that they can hurt you on both sides.
You're right.
If you had to put a list together of a couple of things that you say, this is what they do best, what would you guys say it is, Barrett?
What I think they do best, depends on what side of the ball you're talking about. What they do best is their ability to control the clock. Their time management, because they can run the ball so efficiently and they keep their offense on the field for so much of the time, and especially in the first quarter, that I think that's a key stat that we don't really pay attention to that we should, because it keeps the opposing quarterback and their offense off the field. So time possession is a jewel that, we really don't talk about. We probably should talk about that a lot more. I mean, you put an offense, even Dallas, you put an offense like Dallas is on the field where you have CeeDee Lamb, you got guys that can go out there and mix it up a little bit. It could be a much different game, giving them more opportunities if they don't have the ability to control the clock like they do. So, that to me, that's big that they are able to do that.
Gunnar?
For me, it's the ability to flip the switch whenever they feel like it. They go into these low periods and they make it seem like it's more of a competitive game than it should be. And then all of a sudden they flip the switch. Prime example against the Cowboys. They let the Cowboys get close, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, they said, stop us if you can. And Dallas couldn't stop them. And they put distance between themselves and Dallas to the point Dallas steps out of character, gets all these unsportsmanlike penalty conducts. And that's when you know you're a good team, when you can go through the bad moments and still overcome them. The average teams in many cases can't overcome those moments. Once you let an opponent feel like they can get back in the game and beat you, lo and behold, most of the time they can. But with this team, they put your foot on your throats. They take them off for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden they hit the accelerator again and take off. Yes. And I think that's an incredible trait. This team, to me, in a lot of ways, they don't score with the frequency of a Kansas City, but they do a lot of what Kansas City does in terms of accelerate, decelerate, accelerate.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's the other one is just ball security / the ability to take it away. I mean, they can, man. You know, Barrett, every coach goes into a game and one of the tenets every single week is ball security. Don't give it to them, take it away from them. And the Eagles do it every single week, and they've done it better than anybody in football this year. And that, to me, they're the kind of things that play really big in a playoff setting. When you go into the postseason and you take care of your football, they haven't fumbled all year. You take care of the football, and you get it from the other team, which is enormous.
That is, I mean, not turning the ball over. I think it's a stat that Jaws likes to say in our pregame, postgame show a lot. That if you don't give the ball up, if you don't give the ball up, it's like an 80% chance you're going to win. Just one, it's like 48% just by having one turnover. You know, it goes even more down after that. But you don't see the common mistakes that you see with a lot of teams. They play more disciplined, not a lot of penalties either. I think they stop with the penalties, you know, legal man down the field, jumping off sides and things of that nature. They had a lot of that at the beginning of the season. They cleaned that up, and now they're going forward. It just makes them a more dominant team because they're just a more disciplined team than most teams. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I like the fact that, you know, their quarterback, 9 times out of 10, we're putting them in a great position.
I'm sitting here and I'm shocked that Houston is a +3 in the turnover giveaway ratio.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
Surprising.
When you look at how bad their numbers are, they have 10 takeaways and 7 giveaways. That's shocking. That's unheard of.
Not
so the
really.
fact that it is. Well, think about it. You got a quarterback who should be a habitual backup. Yep. The only reason he's starting because nobody else wants to start in Houston. you know, and you're devoid of talent. Your numbers across the board are putrid in a lot of ways.
Kyle Allen, the backup quarterback. No, you got that dog. You got that.
Yeah. Yo, man, my shoulder a little sore. Go ahead, man. Take them extra throws, man. Yeah, go ahead. You know, but they're +3 in the takeaway giveaway ratio. That's a weird dynamic.
Well, you know what? It's not because of that's still a lot of turnovers, though. You know what I'm saying? But they're getting
7 is a lot, but they're getting a lot. I mean,
yeah,
the thing is they can't finish. When they get them, they're not finishing.
I think it's more so. Yeah, you're right. That's a big thing. They're not doing anything with those things because they don't have the talent to do anything with them on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
so, you know, it's like, all right, yay, you got a turnover, yay. Now do something with it, offense.
Wah, wah.
Right.
We stopped them.
Oh my God.
Right.
All right. Well, the other one I would put in there from an Eagles perspective is the passing game, and it's sort of a generic, one size fits all way to put it, but the way that they can hurt you with AJ on a slant at yards after catch, Devontae all over the place with great patterns with Dallas Goedert. We really haven't seen much from Quez Watkins all year, but that's there if you want to break glass in case of emergency with a deep shot.
I like that.
You know,
a
lot of ways they can hurt you, man.
You say break glass in case of emergency. I like that.
Might need it.
That's exactly what it is. He's a luxury right now that just like Zach Pascal in the touchdown he scored, they ran a bubble screen. Well, first of all, when you broke down the play, the Zach Pascal touchdown, man, I tell you what, man, their way of taking what they're doing and breaking it up into sections where you could take care of teams. On that play, you had Smitty and AJ on the other side. And of course, they were playing man free. It means one safety over the top and everybody was man across the board. And on the right side of the line of scrimmage, you had AJ and you had Smitty over there. So of course, Mika Fitzpatrick is going to kind of shade over there because he didn't beat him twice with long touchdowns already. Then you look on the other side of the field, you got Dallas Goedert, who's the outside guy, and then you have Zach Pascal, who's the actual run-blocking wide receiver. And what they do is they have go routes on the side, but then they run they're running like you're going to run a bubble screen to Goddard. How many times have they thrown a bubble screen to Goddard? Like 1,000 times this year.
Right.
So what he does is Dallas kind of comes up and then turns around, makes himself available for the bubble screen. And Zach Pascal looks like he's going to block the guy over Dallas Goedert, and then jets up the field on a 9 route. That's a perfect compliment to what they do all the time. Yeah. They always want to run these bubble screens. Then they fake the bubble screen, have the blocker that's supposed to crack down on the guy that's over Dallas Goedert, run a go route, 9 route, and it's a touchdown. I mean, both guys, even the guy that had Zach Pascal man-to-man, jumped on that on the bubble screen because they're so used to him getting it, and they go for a touchdown because he's wide open by himself. And Minka Fitzpatrick, like I said, was on the other side of the field worrying about A.J. Brown and Smith on the other side. So, I mean, that's just great by Shane Steichen understanding what they've been doing and breaking the tendency for a touchdown.
Man, Eagles might set a new NFL record for second quarter points tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if that keeps up. All right, so flip side, obviously there's a lot good. Biggest concern for you / weakness, Barrett?
Biggest concern for me is still, I'm still looking for a Michael Clay sighting. Can I get the special team coach to call something up to get this off? I mean, get this special teams going. There's got to be a way that they can scheme to get a return. They have no return game.
No, there's zero threat. If you're the other team, you have no fear.
Right. Yeah, and really, then you look at I mean, this is like last 3 weeks, they've had 2 fake punts that they've converted on them twice. Once against was it Arizona? And then they had one this last game. Man, you get fired for stuff like that. And Michael Clay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, you can't have this. You can't allow this to keep happening. You got to figure out a way. Why are the guys not blocking these stingers coming down the field? The gunners coming down the field. Why are they not blocking these guys? You're not giving your returner enough. Somebody needs to start blocking more. They need to start doing more, maybe game plan more. Find another way to generate something on a return game. And then covering also. Dallas, they were a block away from scoring a touchdown on a kickoff return.
Yeah.
You know why he won't get fired? You know why he won't get fired?
Why is that?
Because offense and defense are playing so well. He's covering up for him.
Right.
He's too good right now.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I need a Michael Clay signing.
Yeah.
Give it to me, man. I gotta have it, man. And I mean, I hate to put the young guy on him, but he's not doing anything right now that's noteworthy enough for him to stay on the squad, man. He's got to do more. They've got to put him in a better position. So my big thing is special teams.
Okay. How about you, Doug?
Run defense, because you're going to run up against a Tennessee, a Green Bay, or a Giants team that can run the football, make the game a lot closer than it should be. I think the run defense has been too inconsistent. And now that you don't have Jordan Davis in there for a while, we've talked about it time and time again, how when he's in there in the 5-man front especially, their run defense is a lot different. When he goes out, their run defense is a lot different. And now you don't have him at all for who knows, indefinitely right now. And it shocks me when you look at the personnel they have in the trenches and at the linebacking core, that the run defense has been inconsistent like that. And my biggest concern is they're going to come across one of those 3 teams that I mentioned that get ahead of steam, run the football, control the clock, and make the game a lot closer than it should be.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, eventually, not every week's going to be like what we think Thursday is going to be like, and you are going to be in a dogfight, and it'll sneak up on you just when you least expect it, and all of a sudden, if some team is gashing you on the ground, like I just wonder what it would look like if the Cowboys have Dak Prescott and are featuring Tony Pollard. If you have the threat of what Prescott could do to you in the air, and you get Pollard, they're not trying to just appease Zeke Elliott. That would be interesting to me, how the Eagles' run defense would hold up.
Absolutely.
In that scenario. And that's something that I would look, check on both of those for me in terms of the issues. Like they're giving up 5.1 yards per carry.
Jeez.
That's not acceptable. I mean, that's a problem. Although, the run defense has been okay. It's not awful. It's not what Houston is, but it needs to be better if you want to shore some things up. And I hope that's an area, that I would guess they took a long, hard look at it in the bye
week. Yeah.
And we'll see how that shakes
See,
out.
Big William saying, well, Houston is a running team. Big William, where are they running? Into each other? Because they're the 7th worst rushing offense in the National Football League. They're averaging 92 yards a game running the football. So where are they running the ball? You know, they don't do anything well on offense.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Like, Pierce is decent. He is. He's decent.
He is. There's nobody blocking for him.
Yeah, that right. That's part of it. And there's just not that much of a threat of a passing game. I mean, Davis Mills, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's got an 81 passer rating. He's completing 63% of his passes for just 1,500 yards. Like, that's not – if you're the Eagles, you're going to stack the box and stop the run. That's got to be your game plan. And trust your corners on the outside against, you know, what Houston's going to be rolling out there.
That's a luxury,
Brandon Cooks. You know, and just a bunch of guys.
That's a luxury, man. That's a luxury that we can afford these days. Remember, we used to have Rasul Douglas out there, Jalen Mills.
Oh my goodness,
Sidney Jones. Sidney Jones just got cut.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did yesterday. Yeah.
Look, both JJ Arcega-Whiteside and Sidney Jones got cut from Seattle.
What does that tell you? 2 second-round picks drafted by who?
Yes.
But those days are behind us now because the last 2 drafts have been much better.
Yes.
Here's what I'm hoping in a perfect world when I'm at Ocean Casino tomorrow doing more importantly, post-game show. Game kicks off. Everything I say falls into place. It's like Custer's last stand by halftime. I leave the green room. I go down to the next floor, hit a couple slot machines until late in the 4th quarter. Could come back, jump in the chair for the post-game show, do the show.
Well, I love it if Mike Missinelli would tell you, hey, Derek, give me your thoughts on the second half of the game. Well, I just won $200 at the slots.
I'll be like this, huh?
What game? Oh, they're
no,
playing?
no. Ask Seth. I agree with Seth.
I'm about to say ask Seth.
Yeah.
Agree with
I
Seth.
didn't realize they were actually playing a game. That's funny, man. All right, so we will come back. We'll dive into the NFL. The big news, and we touched on it a little bit in the first segment, but the big news is a potential sale of the Washington Commanders. At least they're exploring it, are the Snyders. So we'll dive into that. And there's a lot of other stuff that went down at the trade deadline after we got off. It was fast and furious yesterday during the show, man.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff happening.
Yep.
But we'll recap some of the stuff and some of the big news that went down
Halloween
yesterday.
candy time.
Oh, Gunner! I know you don't see him this excited. You know he's got that gleam in his eyes when he's going up there to get to
ready to race downstairs, man. See what's
look how healthy Barrett's being.
I'm on a diet, bro.
Oh,
what diet you on?
Bird food diet.
Wait. What led to this diet? I need to hear this.
Want to get healthy, man? What's wrong with that?
No,
you want to make fun of me, man? You want to make fun of me, man?
I'm not making fun of you. I asked you a very well thought question. I asked you a well thought out question that you have yet to give me an answer. I said, what led to this?
I want to be healthy. And I said, well thought out answer. I want to be healthy.
Did you see Xander just put in a private chat? I'm telling Trish tomorrow, hey, Trish is going with me to Ocean Casino tomorrow. I'm telling Trish tomorrow she needs to put a stop to D-Gun's candy addiction.
Yes.
Man, you tell Xander, you tell my wife anything, and I'm taking you out, bro. I'm telling you right now.
Xander, have an intervention for him for candy down there. Like, let's make it happen.
Look, this is one of the few times of the year I go on a candy biz. The other time is Easter when my wife makes these incredible peanut butter Easter eggs, and she makes these turtles. They're chocolate covered turtles with caramel and pecan nuts in them. The legs are pecan nuts she makes for Christmas. That's the only times I really go on a binge. You know,
there you go.
That's it.
Right.
Why are you laughing, man? I mean, I'm trying to. That's it.
You love food. It's great. I love it. I love the excitement.
Who doesn't?
You have.
Barrett loves food. I mean, Rob,
we all do. You get a special. There's a special. I like it.
See, Rob, you don't love food, Rob. Rob, you don't love food because your palate. See, me and Barrett, our palates are out here.
Yeah.
Rob's palate is right
I'm
here.
Limited. Yeah.
See, you like food, but you don't love food. You
Yeah.
like to try everything. But
That's a good point.
You eat
while I go get my.
You eat just to
I
survive.
eat to survive. Yeah. I eat
Yes. And Barrett, that's why Rob is 155 pounds. I'm 225.
Right.
And I don't know
He's
what
the
you
same
are.
size he was in college. I mean, in
I
high
don't
school.
know.
That dude's the same size when I first met him in 1997.
Yeah, well, I might have a couple more pounds on me. We'll see. I don't know, somewhere. All right. I don't know. So we'll come back. Some NFL, a lot of stuff going on in the NFL. A little later, we'll dive into some open talk including birthdays and movies and all that good stuff. So don't go anywhere. Barrett's gonna have a salad. Derek's gonna. What are we digging into? We getting some. I
don't know, man. We got
Oreos, or what are we doing?
Oreos. We got Hershey bars down there. We got Starburst. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I may not be back early next segment because I can't make a decision.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. But I'll be back eventually.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see about Derek's status. All right, we'll do all that when we get back. Tone, we're going to do a little Flynn Tree Services here going to the break. He's Barrett. He's Derek. I am Rob. All right, let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So ask yourself the question, do you have any type of issues with trees on your property or your yard? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away, and they are experts at trimming any types of tree. They service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, and tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, we're in that time of year now where it's hurricane season. Some bad weather is coming our way. That's for sure. It's a great time to get your trees evaluated. Make sure everything's okay. Go to their Facebook or Instagram for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call. 610-850-2848. 610-850-2848. Or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Pondley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Pondley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Pondley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
We're back. We are Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. What did we get, Derek? What was our candy of choice, our treats, our sweets of choice? Okay. Your Reese's is upside down, but we got you. Reese's and Oreos. Nice combination. Good work. Good work out of you.
That might be good together.
Yeah, it's a good combo.
Wait, should I try it on camera right now? Food
sure.
all over my teeth and my
Why
mouth.
not?
Well,
Rob. So a couple things. The Snyders, that is Daniel Snyder and his wife Tanya, have announced they have hired Bank of America Securities to explore potential transactions involving the team, meaning they're looking into selling the team, which could be the first step. This is the first time they've taken this measure, potentially, despite the fact that everybody, has wanted them to sell the team. Maybe the heat has finally gotten to them. Maybe they've just had enough. Maybe the league has said to them, you might want to do this or else it's going to get a lot worse for you. Whatever the case may be, this is pretty significant in the entire league, not just for Washington.
No question. I mean, I think it's more so they're kind of getting pushed out. And I mean, you listen to what Derek said earlier. He said, what if they do know some things? I don't think he really knows. He knows just what everybody else knows. I think he has a lot more stuff that he has going against him than he knows about others. So I think that's why he's getting pushed out. They could really, really, really bring a lot of stuff down on him that probably could lead to some criminal charges also.
I think when you have a loose cannon like a Daniel Snyder Barrett, and let's face it, the owners are a fraternity now. They may keep their distance to a certain degree, but they do get together several times a year for owner functions in March, during the summer, and in the latter part of a regular season. And they do get these exclusive resorts and places like that, because I've had to go down and cover them. I mean, they go to great resorts, and there is a certain amount of them that do get together and do certain things. I mean, let's face it, it's like any corporation. If I was an owner, when that story came out a few weeks ago that according to anonymous sources, if they try to force Daniel Snyder to sell the team, he will go down swinging. He will reveal things about owners, coaches, that could leave the NFL with a black eye. You got to sit back and take notice of that. Wait a minute. Okay, let's see. Last year I was with him here. Year before we were here, we did this, that, the other. Just think about it like this. How big was that story for a few days, Robert Kraft in Florida? Okay.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that aren't maybe a few other owners
that have gotten massages?
Okay. When you have that kind of money make you do crazy things sometimes. Let me tell you,
Yep.
Just think about it.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I hear you. But I think also you're right. There's a lot of owners that are
they're not
having a sigh of relief right now that he could be gone.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. You're right.
I agree. And if he's smart, take your money and run. Enjoy that humongous estate you have. You got other business ventures that are making you money.
Yep.
But as an owner, if I'm sitting back and saying, okay, let's look at the history of what I've done. And all of a sudden, the bottom falls out and it's former executives, former employees, i.e. cheerleaders, who are now lawsuits against us, allegedly giving inside information against us. A guy not even coaching your team, John Gruden, who's a part of an investigation to where he's going back and forth with one of your henchmen, and out of 650,000 emails that have been retrieved from your organization, that one was singled out. How much more is there in terms of what's been said about me as an owner or this organization negatively that could surface against me if I try to push this too far?
Yeah, fair enough. No, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. And we had this debate, I think last week, where we were talking, or maybe it was earlier this week, where we were talking about, what do you do if you're Cleveland and when Deshaun Watson is eligible to play in a game? And I think, Derek, you said you would keep rolling with Brissett. And Barrett and I were saying,
no way.
That's what you should do, but that's not what you're going to do.
Right.
So, the reports out of Cleveland are when he's eligible, he's going to start week 13, December 4th. So
there's no question. There's no question. Well, all the money they're paying him.
Yeah.
Whether he goes out there and makes a fool of himself, he'll be making a fool with the money they're paying him. So they're going to get their money's worth as much as they can this year.
Yeah. He can start practicing November 14th. So 12 days from now, he can start practicing with the team.
So right now, Cleveland is like the 11th seed in the AFC.
Yeah, they're still in it. Yeah, they're still in it.
Now, between now
3 and 5,
when Deshaun can play December 4th, their next 3 games before they turn the reins back over to him is Miami, Buffalo, Tampa Bay.
Woo!
So they could be 3 and 8 by then, and you say, okay,
may not matter. Yeah.
Hey, Deshaun, hey man, it's all yours, but you know. And the interesting thing is, the first game he starts will be in Houston.
I know.
Normally, in a situation like that, you want your starting quarterback. You know, you usually want your starting quarterback to start a home game where it's fan friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to get booed in Cleveland no matter what, because you're going to have a faction of people that do not agree with what he allegedly did or has done, and so he's going to get. But the boo's raining down on how he left Houston, of all places. I don't know. By then, though, Houston may only have like 20,000 fans in the seats. It might be like a practice game.
By the way, I don't know how much of this is affected by the Phillies World Series. Maybe some people who would have gone are going to the Phillies instead, Game 5. But that sets up to be a total Eagle takeover Thursday night in Houston.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Just complete
No
Eagles
question.
fans all over the place. So a couple other things NFL-wise. I found this one interesting. The Jags traded for Calvin Ridley. Now, he can't play this year. He's suspended for the rest of the year. It's lower round draft picks that could potentially move up to a 2 with incentives and whatnot. Clearly a move for the future, going forward here to try to get some more weapons with Trevor Lawrence. But I got to be honest, I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see Calvin Ridley getting traded coming.
Yeah, but you know what? The interesting thing is, because he was suspended, that money, like guaranteed money next year, like $13.3 million is void. Which means you have to negotiate a new deal.
Oh.
So they could get him at a much lower price if he's still with the team.
Okay. Well, it's interesting.
Very interesting, because I mean that for a guy that's he can't even be in the facility.
No. I mean,
I bet you he can.
Well, you're going to get funny.
Wrong for that, bro.
You're going to get a hungry guy, I would think, after being out an entire year. So you're going to have a motivated player if you're Jacksonville, and I'm sure they'll figure something out financially. The Bills acquired Nyheim Hines. I think that's a good move.
I do too.
The Colts. That's a good move for Buffalo.
Man, he can play wide receiver, running back. He's a multifaceted player, and let's face it, Buffalo's one of those offenses. They like to move pieces around, just like Kansas City and 49ers team. That's a great move for them.
Yeah,
it absolutely is.
He's not a player that gets a lot of notoriety, but he's a solid player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before he was the lead back. He was the guy. He was the guy that used as the hammer for that offense.
Right.
So I mean that's one of those sneaky good picks that teams can do, and I think that's going to bode well for them as they go forward. Having him there is really, really going to help them from that aspect. So that's a great move by them, man. A move that because ever since Stu came in, he's that guy. Once Taylor came in, he's the end all cure all. So they didn't have any need for him. But Hines can be a returner for him. He can be that third down back for him. He can run draw plays. He was an every down back before Jonathan Taylor came.
Taylor got there, yeah.
No, you're right. All right, so I thought the Dolphins had themselves a trade deadline. They get Bradley Chubb and they get Jeff Wilson too.
Jeez.
Wilson really went under the radar, but I give Miami credit. They're going for it. Make no mistake about it. They're going for it.
And they ain't going. If they can get their quarterback upright and breathing, wow, they look really good right now in terms of what they want to do. So hopefully it works out. But you get a Bradley Chubb who basically you know, he wasn't having the kind of year you thought he would have in Denver. I mean, I think he was nicked up injury-wise, whatever the case may be. But, you know, it's amazing how people get healthy and rejuvenated all of a sudden when you switch teams and you go to a team that's right in the thick of the playoffs. All of a sudden, those little injuries don't hurt anymore, do they, Barrett?
Bro. You see how old, when you first watched the pictures, how old Robert Quinn looked when he was walking around?
Yeah.
You saw did you see the total difference the way he's walking around now? It's totally different. Once you get out of that bad environment, man, even you know, looking like Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor looks like a totally different person now.
Yeah.
Totally different receiver. He looks like a football player right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But that you know, a lot of people are likening the Chubb move to Von Miller last year for the Rams and what that was able to do for them. I'm not saying Chubb is as good as Von Miller, but they're kind of looking at it that way, which I think is, you know, kind of interesting, honestly.
I couldn't agree with you more. I like where Miami is right now. And, you know, we keep talking about it's a 2-horse race to the Super Bowl between Buffalo and Kansas City.
Yep.
Well, don't forget, Miami already beat Buffalo. Miami's the only team that beat Buffalo.
Yep.
And now that you had a Chubb, I don't know. The AFC playoff picture just got a little bit more interesting. If Tua keeps playing the way he's playing right now, the AFC playoff race just got a little bit more interesting right now.
Agreed, 100%. The Giants are open to maybe a reunion with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, there's debate on this one of whether or not he's going to be able to come back at all this year. Should he just take the year off, come back strong next year? So some of this is going to depend on where he is health-wise. But look, I find it interesting if you're the Giants. You are limited, and I'm being kind, with your receiving core.
Very limited.
If you could, you know, tap into an Odell Beckham on a 1-year short deal here to show everybody what he's made of for next year, it could change your offense in a big way. And all of a sudden give Daniel Jones something to throw to besides Saquon.
If it wasn't for his checkered past, man, I mean, that'd be a slam dunk, you know, because Dable really doesn't want any of those distractions coming into his locker room.
That's true.
And we don't, I mean, although, you know, there were no distractions with the Rams. The Rams were on a winning streak. They were winning the Super Bowl, so you didn't hear much.
Right.
But, man, I tell you what, bro, for him to be on that offense, it'll help him out a lot. Because right now they just got Darius Slayton. Wan'Dale Robinson, you know, the rookie.
Yeah. You're asking a lot of that.
An awful lot, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, Kentucky, he was pretty good, but we're talking about this level. And they still don't have Kenny Golladay playing, man. How is that possible?
No. All that money you're paying him.
Seals now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think, look, they must be so fed up with Golladay, and they're just screwed because of his contract. But
no question.
What a mess. Speaking of, he was a former Giants coach, but he really made his mark with the 49ers. John McVay, who was Sean McVay's grandfather, 91 years old, passed away. He was an executive with the 49ers during that run from 79 until the 90s and won 5 Super Bowls in part with that organization. They named their draft room after him. Was said to be a guy who could just spot talent, even at, you know, lower, quote unquote, lower levels, et cetera. Sure. He had a real knack for it. You know, Jerry Rice, some other guys on those 49ers teams, you know, that he was a big voice, a strong advocate for. So that's a big one, man. This guy had a heck of a career for sure.
22 years with that organization.
Yep.
That says it all in terms of what they think about him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no joke. And you know, you obviously, you know, where, you know, the genes come from with Sean McVay with the football.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So yeah, he passed. Another one that passed sad. Tom Coughlin's wife passed away. She
oh man.
Yeah, she had a tough last few years, dementia and some other stuff. And she passed away. So by all accounts, one of the nicest people. I'm seeing some of these things that people are saying in the NFL. And it's not just your typical, she was a nice person, like people
right.
like really in detail about some of the stuff that she did. So, yeah, condolences there.
Kind of like how we are with Marge, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a connector. Yeah, that kind of person. That's for sure. All right, so let's do a little AFC power ranking.
Hold on, I got one more for you. Sorry to cut you off. I got one more, and I brought this up in the pregame show, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
The story about Deion Sanders.
Oh, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so we all know about the shooting that just occurred Tuesday. One of the members of the group Migos was shot and killed at a bowling alley.
Yep.
Well, Deion Sanders' Jackson State team is heading down to Houston to play Texas Southern this weekend, and he has already told his team, "You will not be leaving the hotel from start to finish during our stay there. The only time we leave the hotel is when we go to the game. Anybody who wants to come visit you, family or friend, will have to visit you at the hotel." You know, sometimes you have to protect yourselves from yourself. And I think that's a smart move on his part, because let's face it, you have 80-something college kids, okay? And they're young men, yes, but they're still teenagers. And we were all teenagers many moons ago. And we know you want to go out. You want to see the town. You might end up going somewhere you shouldn't be going to. Hey, let's see if we can get in a bar real quick. Let's go. Whatever the case may be. Somebody recognized you from being from Jackson State, envious of you, because Deion Sanders has put Jackson State and the Black College Football Association on a national map. You know it's big when college football game day is in a smaller college doing a game day.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So you're a target. There's coaches that are jealous of you because you got Deion Sanders as your head coach. The program is now generating 60,000 people in the games, at home games. He does everything that goes against the tradition of what a college football coach could be. He's always posting videos, okay? Videos of him and his inspirational messages to players. Play my theme music in the locker room at practice when they come out of the tunnel on game day. He has opened up behind-the-scene looks at college football. And there's a lot of coaches that he almost got into it with the Alabama State coach, last week? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So when you're the
Eddie
envy,
Robinson, no relation to the Grambling Eddie Robinson.
There you go.
Coach's name. Yeah.
So when all of a sudden you become the envy of what you do, whether it's a player from another team, a fan, you just never know. Hey, man, people nowadays got quick triggers. So I applaud Deion. I'm here to protect you. Your parents put you in my care for a reason. I told your parents I will protect you at all costs, help you become better students, help you to become better young men. You ain't leaving a hotel in Houston until we get out of town. You got think about that.
I think I had the same thing happen in the NFL. You know, this time we went to places you just couldn't go out. You know, you weren't in the best place to go out. When you go down and play Baltimore, you're not really allowed to go out. They don't let you just, leave. It's not that they can't stop. They can't stop you, but they can, definitely say, hey, look, we're not going anywhere around here. You go down to Baltimore, this is not the best place to be. You go one block over, you in Vietnam, man. That's how bad it is. There's places like that you have to watch yourself in, man. And especially college, college, going out there and doing something stupid, you know what I mean? It's a lot different than NFL. Yeah. And in college, you can get strung up and be in a lot of trouble.
Tell you, man.
It's there. Sometimes these kids are targeted, right? And people know where they're staying. They know when they leave, when they're coming back. Where the popular spots are that they hit. There's a lot of things that could go sideways on road trips.
It's always amazed me at the NFL level. Now the NFL. Well, let me just put it with the Eagles. The Eagles are very good at not telling a lot of people where they're staying. Yet every time I would go on road trips, the hotel lobby would be full of Eagles fans waiting for them to get off the bus to walk through the lobby to go to their rooms, their respective room. Like, how in the world these people find this stuff out? So nothing is secretive anymore. If somebody wants to find you, they can find you.
Well, you're right, Derek. And that's unfortunately this day and age too.
Yes.
That's this day and age. There's just there's such a lack of privacy on so many levels. It's frightening, honestly. I mean,
it is, man.
But yeah, I don't. The things that we've seen just in this area, those poor kids in Roxborough. I mean, my God, man, it's just it's an everyday occurrence. So it's it's reflected in football, but it's our lives now, unfortunately. Just everywhere. So
and we've seen historically in the college football ranks, college kids go out when they're on road trips, and especially if you're in a big rivalry town, all of a sudden something jumps off.
Yeah,
they're at a mall, they're at a restaurant, fast food place.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of knuckleheads, say I'm going toe to toe with these guys from this team. Dude, all of a sudden something tragic happens when it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yep.
So why not prevent it the best you can?
With you. With you 100%. Before we get into the rankings, this is another one on sort of the sadder side of this thing, but generally, Britt Reed sentenced to 3 years. Now, I'm not sad for Britt Reed. I'm sad for the family of that poor girl, who was permanently injured in this. That, you feel like this should have been a little stiffer than it was, but the plea that he took brought a maximum 4-year deal behind bars. It became the judge decided 3. The young lady's family is not happy, and I don't blame them one bit. But
no, not one bit.
That's where it's at.
You look at who the father is, and you want to say, where is the father in all this? Well, Andy Reid has been a lifetime coach in the National Football League, raised 5 kids. And so obviously when you're at Barrett, when you're a head football coach from August to January, you're locked behind closed doors. A lot of these guys sleep at the office. Mom is mom and dad at home. He lost one son at training camp, and I was up there. Lost one son to a drug overdose. And now this son, who had several run-ins with the law in Pennsylvania, who graduated from a rehab clinic here, thought he had his life together. He was a coach. He was an assistant coach in his dad's staff. And all of a sudden he's doing 3 years in jail, man. And what I know of Andy Reid, man, this is tearing him up inside. And I think football is his outlet. When your people always talk about Andy Reid, man, his players love for him. And I truly believe, and I never asked Andy this, I truly believe Andy Reid looks at players as an extension of his family, like they're all his sons.
Yep.
And that's why he has the kind of relationship he does with them. Now, did he neglect duties at home? I can't go that far. I don't know. I've never been there. But obviously, maybe that's his diversion in a lot of ways for what he did. I hate to see that happen to a guy, because Andy Reid is a super guy. Well, I don't care what color uniform he's wearing, what color he's wearing. Andy Reid is a good dude, plain and simple. Man. And to see him go through that,
honestly, it's sad all around. I mean, it's just sad all around on a lot of levels. All right, let's do a little AFC power rankings, guys. We'll segue out of that with some fun and games department here. So tomorrow we'll do the NFC, and then Friday we will do the NFL power rankings. Obviously, a lot tomorrow, and on Friday we'll be off of the Eagles game, from an NFL perspective. But our AFC power rankings. Now, for me, again, I think you could really debate 3 through 5. Right?
Yes, you can. Yep.
That's where you really kind of get into it, because 1 and 2 are, depending on how you want to juggle it, but I think it's locks that it's Buffalo and Kansas City.
Yep.
3 through 5. Here we go. Who wants first?
I think 3 is pretty easy, but I'll let Barrett go.
All right, Barrett.
So I will go the Ravens.
Go Ravens at 3.
I'm gonna go Ravens at 3.
Yep.
I think they bolstered up that defense, was going to help them out in their transition into winning that division and just becoming that AFC team that we thought they were going to be.
Roquan Smith, for people who maybe missed that trade they made a couple days back, but yep.
Then I'm gonna go Dolphins.
Okay.
Yes, they're going in the right direction again. They just went and got Chubb, helped their pass rushing. That's another plus with the defense, and they went and got the running back. Then after that, 5, man, it's tough, man, because you can go either the Titans or the Jets, but I'm going to go with the Titans just because they got the running game.
I will tell you, it doesn't make for good debate. That's exactly the way I have it.
Do you?
Exactly the way. I think the Ravens are playing better, and now they add Roquan Smith, who's the leading tackler in the NFL, who's going to be like just reborn playing there.
Yep.
And I think that's going to stabilize things on that side of the ball. I think they've gotten a little bit better offensively, and Harbaugh has stopped, at least it feels like, taking some of those weird chances that he was taking. I think they've settled in. I think Miami, then let's face it, Miami with Tua is a completely different team.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
He was out. They lose 3 in a row. He comes back. All of a sudden, they're lighting it up again. So I would definitely go Miami 4. I don't love the Titans at 5. I'll be honest with you. Like, to me, it's really, you could go a lot of different directions with that, but I have to at least acknowledge they've won 4 games in a row. And, They did win 12 last year, so there's something there with Tennessee. But that's where I'm at. How about you, Derek?
I think Miami is the easy choice at number 3. And now that they've added Bradley Chubb, I just like the overall game. I can't. I wanted to put Baltimore at number 3, but I can't because their defense has been so inconsistent. The linebackers in particular have been a big disappointment. Will one player make the difference of what's happening on the back end of that defense, giving up the chunks of real estate they've been giving up the big running plays? I don't know. I have to see it. Mm-hmm. I know what Miami's capable of doing when Tua is in there.
Right.
And we've seen that the last couple of games, what he can do. So I have to put Miami at 3. I put Baltimore at 4, and that was a shaky 4. And I'm putting the Chargers at number 5. The Chargers are 4 and 3.
Chargers.
I put the Chargers at number 5. They've struggled, but eventually they're going to get healthy. They're going to get Mike Williams back eventually. I mean, I'm not Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. They're going to get him back eventually. I tried to put the Jets on there, but the Jets shocked me at how inept they were against the Patriots this past Sunday. I was shocked. Mm-hmm. I can't put Tennessee on there. I think you brought up a great point. They won 12 games last year with A.J. Brown, who's not there anymore. They've won 5 games in a row to get to 5-2 right now, but the 5 wins have been 2 points against the Raiders, 7 points against the Colts, 4 against the Commanders, 9 against the Colts, 7 against Houston. Raiders, Colts, Commanders, Colts, Houston. What's the common theme there? Teams that are bottomed out. Yep. I need to see Tennessee play a team that forces them to go toe-to-toe with them.
Well,
that's
but
the reason I couldn't put them on there.
I can't. I mean, they got a run game, man, and
they do.
I can't put Miami above the Ravens.
Why? Because
the inconsistency that I see with Tua being healthy, man. I mean, I can't see him staying healthy, but that offensive line playing until he get that left tackle back. It's going to be tough for them to go out there and protect them the right way. So I think Teron comes back. He comes at this game, or he came back last game, but I just don't see him going out there and really making any hay right now.
Mm-hmm.
See, for me, Miami's consistencies have been based on not having a quarterback because of injuries. They missed a couple of games because of injuries. Baltimore's inconsistencies have been from what the heck is going on in Baltimore. It wasn't because of injuries.
Weird.
Weird. You got weird stuff. I mean, we all agreed. We thought
Baltimore was the top
10 point. They were top 10 defense going into
puffing
the
up
season.
leads and Harbaugh not trusting his defense and going for it in situations he probably shouldn't go for it in.
Yeah, and you got players jaw-jacking with the head coach on the sideline. When have you seen a player get in the face of Harbaugh in recent years?
I don't remember. Right.
Yep. You got players jaw-jacking with them. So, offensively, the running game is based on the quarterback. The wide receiving group has been okay, and I tussled with that. I went back and forth, and when I added up the plus and minuses, I just felt that's just me. I know you guys have your reasons. It's just me. I could not put Baltimore ahead of Miami right now. Next week, who knows? Different story.
All right, I thought this was interesting to sort of look. We're almost halfway point, kind of. It's hard to have a halfway point unless you play half a game with 17 games. But MVP. Now, is this an easy one? Is this a lock? Who's in the mix? I will tell you. Let me just say 2 things. One, Saquon Barkley absolutely should be in the mix
until this last game.
He didn't have a great last game, but considering what he's doing and with the little help that he has, I think he should be in the mix.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, Micah Parsons should be in the mix too.
Yes.
It's usually just an offensive award. And the question is, where does Jalen Hurts fall? So
I think it's a 5-horse race right now.
Okay. Who do you think it is?
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. Josh Allen. I'll go with Josh Allen. Hurts. Then I would go
Hurts too.
Yeah, I will Hurts too. Then I would go Parsons 3. Then I would put Saquon. Then I put Mahomes.
Mahomes 5.
Yeah,
okay.
That's, just because it's old hat to him now.
Interesting. I mean, you remember how it was. Like Michael Jordan probably could have won it every year, but
yes.
What do you think, Derek?
I didn't put a defensive player on it, which I think is a sham when you're talking about the MVP player of the league, because it should cater to all positions.
Yes, it should.
But an MVP, a defensive MVP, there has not been a defensive MVP since Lawrence Taylor in 1986.
Jeez.
Which is a scam. Since 2007, it's gone to quarterbacks. So I guess we should believe that it's going to go to another quarterback. The last running back to win it was LaDainian Tomlinson in 2006.
A long time.
Okay. So I agree. A running back is worthy of being considered. But I have Josh Allen 1. I have Jalen Hurts number 2. I have Mahomes 3. Nick Chubb's at number 4. And Saquon at number 5. Now, number 6 distant, which you got to keep an eye on is, how about Tyreek Hill down in Miami?
Ooh.
He already has 69 catches. He needs 39 yards to reach 1,000 yards already. He's one of 2 receivers. Oh, wait, what is he averaging? He's averaging 120 yards a game.
Yeah, and his yards per catch, everything's insane.
Sick. It's sick.
Yeah.
But he'll never get, wide receiver will never get that award. So that's my order.
Okay. I like that. I went Allen, Mahomes, Hurts.
Allen's Mahomes, Hurts. Okay.
Barkley, Parsons.
Okay.
Now, I know I'm there's a lot of other worthy candidates that should be in there. And Mahomes, I guess, is almost too easy, and so is Allen. But that could change. I mean, like the fact that we're even having discussions of Jalen Hurts in the top 5 for MVP, it's almost like it feels like everything that's happening is like pinch yourself. It's crazy, but that's what it is. I mean, he's been that good. He's so effective, both like as a two-way player, so many different ways. You're muted, Barry.
When you think of him, it's hard to think of him just, you want to look past him being a guy that can be a drop back quarterback. You just want to look at him as a dual threat quarterback. But he takes on whatever the coach asks him to take on.
He does.
He was a drop back quarterback all this last game. You know what I'm saying? He can do that. If you want to be a runner quarterback, he can do that. Read option quarterback, he can do that. RPO quarterback, he can do that.
Yep.
When you're able to go out there and do all those things very, very well, then you should be. But until he gets up and he starts getting the accolades that Allen and Mahomes have, we're still going to be saying shoulda, coulda, woulda.
That's the problem. And there's not enough people, I don't think, that are paying as close attention as we are to what he's doing. Now, look, they're undefeated, so he's getting a lot. There's spotlight on him. But I think there's still that, okay, show it to me. You got to prove it to me. And the other thing is, like, his rushing attempts are way down. He's not like just this guy who takes off all the time anymore. He's much more of a pocket quarterback than he was. But I don't think people – want to give him the love for that, or just don't know. Maybe they just don't pay close enough attention to what he's been able to do. But the guy has an undefeated football team too. That should count for something.
Absolutely.
Quarterbacking.
Hey, good catch, Antoine. Antoine said who's filling in, who stepped in for Xander, who's taking off to go to the World Series tonight. Adrian Peterson was the last running back in 2012 to win the award.
Okay.
So
I
missed that. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
Prior to that, it was Tomlinson in 2006.
Good stuff there. All right, let's we'll step aside, and when we come back, we will kick around.
I need an Oreo break.
Gunner needs his fix right now, so we got to hit a break before he starts going into the shakes. So we'll do that when we get back. We'll talk a little Sixers Flyers. We'll revisit the Phillies as well. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We're going to talk a little Razor technology right now. Yes, Razor technology. And look, and here's the thing: IT infrastructure environments are more complex and heterogeneous than ever before. Consequently, teams struggle to respond to pressing issues with the speed necessary to promote positive business results, and the data that powers predictive monitoring and automation is left unexploited. Razor technology addresses this challenge with a holistic approach that connects every part of an organization's technology assets, enabling proactive and secure IT operations without sacrificing the agility that drives innovation. Razor technology automates monitoring and management to bolster IT teams that are feeling stretched thin. And it improves auditing and reporting procedures so that actionable insights find their way to the leaders that need them most. Save time and money on your IT and cloud services and secure your organization with leading end-to-end infrastructure solutions by calling Razor Tech today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Philly sports fans, I'm Tom Giordano from Ponley Hockey Giordano. First and foremost, thank you for watching the Ponley Hockey postgame show. But right now, we're giving away tickets to the World Series. Follow Ponley Hockey on Instagram and check out our posts for your chance to win tickets to all 3 Phillies home games. Go Phillies and go Birds.
Welcome to Ponley Hockey, the largest workers' compensation law firm in Pennsylvania. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. Even better, Ponley Hockey doesn't charge a dime until you win. If you've been injured at work, give Ponley Hockey a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Philadelphia fans, were cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Ponley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, we are back. Final segment of the show, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, gearing you up for Game 4 of the World Series tonight. Phillies lead 2-1. Pitching matchup is Aaron Nola against Christian Javier, so it should be a good matchup. Javier during the regular season, 11-9, 2.54 ERA, had 194 strikeouts, just a 0.95 WHIP. He has been really good. Aaron Nola, last 2 starts, not great. 4 1/3, 5 runs, 4 2/3, 6 runs, 4 home runs allowed in those 2 starts. However, he is 45-24 lifetime at Citizens Bank Park. So he pitches well in the friendly confines. And we know, guys, that this crowd has impacted these games, and they have been on fire. So be interesting tonight to see how it shakes out. So busy night down at the sports complex. You have that game at 8:03. You have at 6 o'clock, the Sixers are taking on the Wizards. Sixers beat the Wizards 2 nights ago without Joel Embiid. I haven't seen an update on whether he's playing or not. I think he is. But James Harden has been playing extremely well. Tyrese Maxey, as we expected. The newer guys are starting to get more acclimated. It seems like they need to show, I think what we need to see from the Sixers tonight is with Embiid on the floor, if in fact he is, that they're starting to play together a little bit. It's been kind of clunky with him out there so far this year. I know he's not all the way back in shape either. So Something that we need to see from a Sixers perspective as they get after it tonight. But man, it's going to be crazy. And the Flyers are playing, by the way, in Toronto. So 3 of the 4 teams are playing, and then the Eagles play tomorrow night. It is nuts right now. Muted push-ups. Tone, are the guys muted? You need to unmute. Thank you.
Tone did it. So I can't call the Sixers anteaters anymore? Is that what you're telling me?
I guess you could, but it wouldn't really apply to the way that they're playing right now, I would say. Yes.
I'm sorry. I was listening to you, Rob, but I got distracted because T. Fatuna brought up a very good point about Barrett that I had to respond to, about how Barrett has sucked his family in, and they believe, they got Barrett. And I said, you know what? He's like a chameleon. He kind of blends into your family, and then all of a sudden he brainwashes them.
Wow.
Oh, first off, let me first say this. Happy birthday, my family, Tam, who's Captain Tony's wife.
Okay.
I just simply sent a text out to Tam and Tony. Happy birthday, Tammy. And go out to the best restaurant and suck every single dime out you can. Get 2 lobster.
Where have I heard that before?
Get a steak. Make sure you get the finest steak they make. In fact, what's the steak they have? The Wahoo steak or whatever it's called?
Surf and turf, everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's finely marbled.
Oh, Wagyu beef.
Wagyu steak. Take them for everything. No, I'm just playing. But yes, happy birthday, Tam.
Rob.
Yes.
Keep your wife and your children away from Barrett.
He's dangerous. Yeah.
He's dangerous.
He's dangerous on your wallet. Yeah.
Yes. Keep him away. Yeah.
I hear you. So a couple other odds and ends mentioned. The Flyers lose last night in overtime. Carter Hart makes 35 saves. Good news is he's playing very well. So, I think they're slightly coming back to earth a little bit, but nonetheless, it's a good Rangers team. They lose 2-1 on the road. Obviously overshadowed by the Sixers and the Phillies last night. That's for sure. All right, let's do some birthdays here, and then we'll circle back to an Eagles topic that we didn't quite get to. It's an okay birthday day. It's not great. David Schwimmer from Friends, let's be honest, is 56 years old. Nelly from Barrett's hometown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
48 years old, Nelly. Burt Lancaster, the actor, was born this day, 1913, was Burt Lancaster. Daniel Boone, the explorer, born in 1734. We had 2 presidents. Yeah, how about that? 2 presidents born this day. Warren Harding, who was the 29th president of the United States, 1865, he was born. James Polk was the 11th president of the United States, born in 1795. So we had 2 presidents this day. Jimmy Garoppolo turns 31 today. Jimmy G. Stephanie Powers Jimmy G from Heart to Heart is 80 years old today. Ray Walston, who was an actor, was born this day, 1914. Now, 3 Philly ties. Michael Buffer, who was born in Philadelphia. Okay.
Michael Buffer. Wow.
He's 78. Michael Buffer.
No, he's not.
Good for his age.
78?
He looks legit 20 years younger than he is.
No question.
Yeah, he is. He's that guy. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. So a big Eagles fan, by the way, Michael Buffer. Big Eagles fan. 2 former Eagles were born on this day. Both 28 years old. Jordan Howard and Corey Clement. Both 28 today. Yes.
Boy, you talk about a short-lived career, Corey Clement. Wow.
Man, he was involved in some big moments.
Think
about it, right?
He was.
So he catches the one pass in the back of great dime.
Yep.
And he was involved in the Philly special too, right?
Yep.
Yes. He had 100 receiving yards in that game.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what happens, he was, a major impact on a big stage. For sure.
Then he went to every team in the NFC East.
Then he was the NFC East guy. Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, I mean, look, undrafted.
I know.
Still, got a little something out of the career.
Yeah.
So
great back coming out of college.
Yeah, he had a great college career at Wisconsin. You got any other birthdays? I got some movies, if not.
You got Danny Amendola.
Former receiver. Yep.
London Elise Kress, who was in the movie Insidious and Need for Speed.
Okay.
She's 30. And then Stevie J, record producer, who has produced for the names like, just low-level names like Mariah Carey, Tevin Campbell, Notorious B.I.G., Jodeci, Jay-Z. Yeah, nobody big,
Stevie J's got some paper then. If
Stevie J got some, he got paid.
Yes. Good
so
for him.
those it for me.
Okay.
I mean,
Barrett,
one of the best players to ever play the game from baseball heaven, Willie McGee. That's all.
Ooh, that's a big Willie McGee.
I love Willie
fan.
McGee. Love Willie McGee.
Willie
Big
McGee,
fan.
man. Yes.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's all. That's all.
Okay.
I remember back when Willie McGee played, and Ozzie Smith, Ozzie Smith, one of the greatest shortstops ever to play the game.
No doubt.
I covered Ozzie in San Diego, and then he moved on to St. Louis. And Willie McGee always had that sad look on his face.
I always looked like he was sad, didn't he?
Like somebody stole his last
called him
apple.
E.T.
Yeah. Somebody called him that? And Ozzie Smith came out and ripped into him for calling him E.T. Who?
He did. I forget.
Can't remember that. But he always looked like he was about to cry.
He
did.
Know?
But I tell you what,
he
when
could
the
play.
ball was hit, nobody got to the gaps quicker than Willie McGee, man.
He was perfect for that Cardinals team.
1982, he was the league MVP.
Yeah, he was. He was good. I love him and Vince Coleman. They were just fun to watch.
Man.
Your team, Barrett, back when you were a kid. Good ones there. Good ones. And by the way, you brought up Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith and Eddie Murray played on the same high school team in Southern California.
Get out of here.
No way. No, they did.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
They did.
Dude, let me tell you, Ozzie Smith was about as big as Rob Ellis.
Yeah, he was
skinny he was a skinny dude. But let me tell you something. There was nobody quicker off the crack of the bat. Mm-hmm. Nobody more athletic than that dude. And you talk about a rifle for an arm.
And his transfer, his hand-eye was so great.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
And he would always run out of the dugout and he'd do that front somersault when he went to his position. Yep. Everybody loved that when he was in San Diego.
Incredible. Loved watching him play. Love watching him play defense, man.
My goodness.
Amazing. All right, movies. 2018 Bohemian Rhapsody, the Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Great movie, by the way.
It was. 2012 Wreck-It Ralph.
Yep.
2001 Monsters, Inc.
Yep. My grandkids still watch that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I still watch that movie.
Yeah, 1997 Cinderella, the one with Whitney Houston. 2012 and Brandy, young Brandy. Yep. Yeah. 2012 Flight with Denzel, he was brilliant in Flight.
Yes.
If you've ever seen that. Speaking of Denzel, 2007 American Gangster.
Okay.
And 1999 The Bone Collector.
What is it with Denzel having 3 movies come out on the same day at different times? That's weird.
I don't know.
Right.
3 movies.
Look, I mean, the guy is prolific. He makes a lot of movies. I guess eventually they're going to fall on the same day.
Bro, I mean, in The Bone Collector, man, I thought he was crippled for real. I mean, I thought he couldn't, he couldn't move.
What do you mean you thought he was crippled for real?
In The Bone Collector.
Yeah.
That's great acting.
Yeah.
It is great acting. He's one of the best ever.
He's a Mount Rushmore guy. I mean,
no question.
He's in any discussion. And as long as he's been doing it, the quality of movies that the guy's been doing it for 40-something years. And he's
Can you believe he's like 67, 68?
He's another one.
Looks like he's in his 40s.
Yeah, he's another one who looks 20 years younger. Yep, I know. It's unbelievable. Yeah, so that's the anything I missed, Gunner? Movies?
I have one called that I liked called Private War. It's about and I think it's based on a true story. It's about this woman journalist who she'd always go behind some of the worst war-torn countries on the planet to write about them, and she decided she wanted to go to this one country, and then things unravel. I don't want to give too much away, but it's called A Private War. And if you get a chance, again, if you get a chance in your spare time, which we have a lot of, right? Take a chance, take a look at that movie. Pretty good movie.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. All right. So Eagles wise, with the game tomorrow night, and obviously it's a Thursday, and then they get 11 days off, which is a nice little bonus for them. It's tough sucking it up and playing. There's no question about that.
One more birthday.
Oh, sure.
Luke Shen. You remember former
Flyer.
Yeah,
former Flyer.
Braden and Luke Shen both played on the Flyers.
Yep.
The Shen brothers.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. I'll hit you guys with this. Maybe we'll dig a little bit deeper into this tomorrow. I'm going to save it for tomorrow, actually, because I like the topic. But one of the things I'll just preview it. One of the things we will do tomorrow with the Eagles is we're going to look at the offseason acquisitions. and the impact that they've made so far. And that could be draft, that could be free agency, that could be trades, because it would apply to all these guys, that we're talking about here, and how we see them projecting going forward here, because there's one in particular that we kind of touched on a little bit earlier in the week that it's interesting to see what's going on from a playing time perspective. I'll tell you the other observation off of that real quick, and we'll talk more about it, like I said, tomorrow. But it's rare that you see a team being as successful as the Eagles are that is getting very little out of their draft. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not taking anything away from Jordan Davis. He was contributing for sure. It's a shame he got hurt, but nothing out of Cam Jurgens, which is fine. That means Kelsey's on the field. Good. Nothing out of Nakobe Dean, really, thus far, or anybody else for that matter. You think about it, right? That's rare. And it's not necessarily upsetting, or it doesn't mean they picked the wrong people.
Right. They have better players at that position at this point. And
you have guys who are learning, like Jordan Davis is learning. Cam Jurgens, we know what that's going to be. That's a succession, of at some point. And Nakobe Dean, there's just better guys on the field right now, than he is. But it got me to thinking about it when you guys brought up Sidney Jones and Arthega-Whiteside, who, let's face it, were busts.
Yeah.
They're like front and center spotlight kind of busts, because the Eagles needed players at those positions when they drafted them, even though Sidney Jones we knew it was going to be a red shirt with the Achilles, but they're not in a position like that right now.
No, I could see next year Nakobe Dean taking over for Kazir White, who's going to get bigger money. I could see Dean moving, Jordan Davis moving in, and either Hargrave or Fletcher moving out. So they're setting a tone for what's to come next year. They'll have to get rid of some of the big money. They'll have guys already in the system. They're stocked with 4 great positions draft wise next year. This team is in a very enviable position, not just for this year, but for the next year and a few years to come.
No doubt. All right. Well, we got to run. We are out of time.
No.
Yes. We will rehash the Phils tomorrow for sure, and get you teed up for the Eagles game as well. All right. It's been fun. I want to thank, we had a dual producer role, Xander Kraus and Tone DeShields. Good job out of both of you guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat section. Thanks to everybody streaming, everybody listening. For Barrett, for Derek, I am Rob, and we are back with you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you tomorrow.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.